Childhood favorites, I'd go with my mother's beef and bean pie, followed by, for dessert, my grandmother's recipe for oatmeal cookies, and a big glass of milk.
Where is your favorite place to vacation?
Home. I like being home. I like my house. I know where everything is. Yeah, I just like being home.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to listen to?
It's called Without a Song, and it's on the album I Remember Tommy. It's a tribute to Tommy Dorsey, and it's a very swinging remake of the original orchestration.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to sing?
My favorite one to sing is...
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Demonstrators are demanding that Postmaster General Louis DeJoy end a series of recent changes. They say DeJoy, who's an ally of President Trump, is trying to sabotage the mail system ahead of the upcoming election.
It's hard to ignore all these anecdotal reports. Slow mail in Montana, removed mailboxes in Oregon. The president needs to sort of back off on his rhetoric.
But you remember this, when you control the mail, you control information.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Now, I have encouraged everybody, speed up the mail, not slow the mail.
The mail never stops. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you gotta get it up, and the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
And I also want to have a post office that runs without losing billions and billions of dollars a year.
Amazon, they come and they drop all their mail into a post office and they say, here, you deliver it, you stupid people, you deliver it. And I said, raise the price. This guy's supposed to be so wealthy, so raise the price. Let him pay for it.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Crime is an issue in New York City. True. The genesis of the crime, the Trump economy, Trump not providing COVID relief, Trump's response to the George Floyd murder, Trump, there are good people on both sides, Ku Klux Klan. I think Trump has some liability for the increase in the crime. Trump.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Joe is shot. Let's face it, Joe is shot. Now, maybe people are going to feel sorry for him and maybe he win. But if Joe makes it through the debate, if he can make it off the stage and walk back unassisted, they will say it was the single greatest debate performance in history. You know that, and so do I.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Isn't that the truth? You know, I remember, I think it was after 9/11, there was a mailbox down the street from where I lived in Wellesley, and they took the mailbox away. Nobody ever put any mail in it, as far as I can recall. I know I never did. I would always just take it down to the post office. But, you know, they were just taking out mailboxes because they figured that, you know, if there were terrorists around, they might want to pick an abandoned box just to throw some kind of bomb in there. And, you know, it wasn't going to hurt anybody, but it might create havoc. So they were just taking them off the street. I mean, I believe I read somewhere this morning that the Biden-Obama, as Joe likes to call it, the Biden-Obama administration took 14,000 boxes off the streets of the United States of America. And actually, that doesn't seem that many. When you think of 50 states into 14,000 boxes, that's not that many boxes considering how much less first-class mail there is from a few years ago. The other thing to ask yourself is, how many pieces of mail do you get in your mailbox or your mail or your letter, whatever, get delivered to your house that really mean something? And how many of them are just crappy catalogs that you don't care about? There was a story in the Wall Street Journal today about some company that prints up catalogs for companies, and it's the third biggest one in the country, just going out of business because there's no more demand for it, because people are just getting the stuff through the internet. And the Democrats, this is the big thing now. This is the big Democrat mantra of the week. This is the conspiracy. Donald Trump wants to destroy the post office to throw the election. That's the campaign paranoid theme of the week. The COVID paranoid theme of the week is COVID-19 deaths skew younger in minorities. Here, I'm holding up for this. Right, it's front page, Wall Street Journal. COVID-19 death score younger for minorities. So I just read the whole story, as I always do, and I find one what I would think was a salient fact that is missing from said story. The number of minorities that are younger minorities that are dying from COVID-19. It's all about rates. It's always about rates. So last week it was children can't go back to school because of COVID-19. And everybody just kind of yawned and said, yeah, but no kids are dying. So they said, let's go back and rework the panic theme. Not today, this week's panic theme. Minority youth are dying at a higher rate. But of course, there's no numbers. 844-500-4242. 508 says, I can't go without those oversized postcards from my local garage. They used to say, you remember the little insurance agencies used to send you out these little calendars, these pop-up calendars? Those have kind of gone the way of evening newspapers and the village blacksmith and all that. All right, 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. The Democrat National Convention starts tonight in Milwaukee. But it's kind of a tough time if you own a restaurant in Milwaukee, if you're a hooker who was planning on making a lot of money at the convention. You know, there is no convention, basically. It's just going to be people broadcasting from the basement and, joining in and knowing how Joe Biden has been running his basement podcasts or whatever you want to call them, or blogging or Zoom, I guess it is, Zooms. I don't think it's going to go too smoothly. And there's a lot of stuff out about Joe Biden today. There's the Daily Mail has a story about his wife, Jill, and her first husband is saying that Joe and Jill were cheating when she was still married to him. His name is Stevenson. And this is how brilliant Joe is. Joe is driving the husband's car and gets into a fender bender with it, and then doesn't offer to pay the guy cash to get out from under this thing. And like 2 months after the crash, the guy who got hit by Joe Biden when he was driving the Vet, it was a Corvette, a brown Corvette. I don't think I've ever seen a brown Corvette, but there you have it. The brown Corvette, he goes to this guy, Jill's cuckolded husband, and says, hey, what happened? They had an accident. They hit my car, and I never got any calls back. And Stevenson, the husband, says, who's they? And he says, well, Senator Biden was driving the car with your wife. So that's a bad story for Joe. But I think the worst thing for Joe today is the Cardi B interview that he did with the rapper Cardi B, who's just this potty mouth, really noxious hip hop community member. And so she did this. She was a big Bernie guy because he was promising more free stuff, and she never used to like Biden. But now she switched over to Biden. So she did this virtual interview with him, and Taylor noticed this. We were just trying to pull a few cuts, like cut 14. Let's just play cut 14.
But Joe Biden told me that he was a good golfer.
You know what I'm saying?
You're telling me? I got 4 kids, 5 grandkids. Come on. I'm an expert.
Actually, he has 7 grandchildren. But hey, who's counting? But the thing about it is, the interview was 16 minutes long, and it's just full of jump cuts. I mean, real bad jump cuts. You know what a jump cut is? You know, someone's saying, they're looking to the right of the camera or the left of the camera, and they're saying something, and all of a sudden they're looking square onto the camera, and your eyes just jump back when you see it because it's not clean, and that's why when you're doing an interview for tape, the interviewer always do cutaway shots so you can cover jump cuts. But when you're doing a semi-live recording in a basement, you don't have any chance to do cutaways.
Or you just put in that white flash, that really quick white flash, just to indicate to the audience, hey, something has happened here. We're moving on.
Well, it's more of a white flash so that you're used to something happening rather than just the jarring nature of the actual jump cut. But here there are just jump cuts, and for all of us who've listened to Joe Biden, we know exactly why there was a jump cut, because he became incoherent in the middle of whatever he was saying. And it just how many of those do you figure there are?
There was only so much of the interview I could stomach, but there were at least 4 or 5 that in the few clips that I saw.
And again, I think the word is jarring too. They're really jarring. So you gotta wonder what it's going to be like. Is he going to do? And Trump mentioned this at his first appearance at one of the airports in Minnesota today, because he's in the Midwest for the convention. Tomorrow he's going to be in Wisconsin. And he was saying that they're all going to be taped speeches. I don't know if Joe Biden's speech is going to have to be taped, isn't it?
Yeah, that should be tomorrow's poll question. I was thinking about this today, too. There's no way it could be done live.
No, there's absolutely no way. And what they'll have to do is they'll have to set it up so that there are wide shots. There are going to be cutaways, so that they can cover up the babbling and the incoherence. And it's like Trump said, what is duller than watching a taped speech? It's like an infomercial. No one wants to see that. You want to see the actual interaction with the crowd. But of course, there's not going to be any crowd, and he couldn't handle a crowd anyway. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. We have a contest coming up here in just a moment with if you want to get some free tickets down to Nantucket. We've got them coming up from Southern Airways. So get on board now if you want to take a chance. If you haven't tried Super Beats Soft Chews, you're missing out. Here are some of them right now. These are great things. We found a few more at home. We ordered some more. These things are great. They give me a burst of energy. I had one right before the show starts. I have one when I wake up in the morning. They're like candy. They taste like candy. They're wrapped in little foil wrappers, and
they're back in the studio. A couple Super Beats that you've been hogging over there at your desk.
Just a couple. That's all I got.
I'll be coming in now to get some.
Okay, they're really good. They give you a burst of energy. They're great for your blood pressure. They're great for your circulation. Super Beats Soft Chews. There you go, Grace. Take them away. Combine non-GMO beets with a powerful new ingredient, grapeseed extract. The grapeseed extract used in Super Beats Soft Chews has been clinically shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. Better blood pressure means more energy the way nature intended, without the jittery caffeine or stimulants. Now you can take just 2 delicious chews a day, anytime, anywhere, to get the blood pressure support you need and the energy you want. You'll get into the habit of taking them at a specific time. That's what most people do. And again, it just gives you that boost of energy when you need it the most. Super Beats, it's very convenient. We like the powder Super Beats, but this is even more convenient. You don't have to worry about washing the glass, washing the spoon, stirring it up, and all that. Just pop one into your mouth and put one in your pocket when you leave for work in the morning. Do what I did and support your heart health with delicious Super Beats Soft Chews. Get your Super Beats Chews today at superbeatsradio.com/Howie. And when you buy 2 bags, they'll throw in the 3rd one for free. That's superbeatsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
Here are some rapid-fire questions with Taylor Cormier. What would you eat for your last meal on Earth?
I'm fond of old favorites, childhood favorites. I'd go with my mother's beef and bean pie, followed by, for dessert, my grandmother's recipe for oatmeal cookies and a big glass of milk.
Where is your favorite place to vacation?
Home. I like being home. I like my house. I know where everything is. Yeah, I just like being home.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to listen to?
It's called Without a Song, and it's on the album I Remember Tommy. It's a tribute to Tommy Dorsey, and it's a very swinging remake of the original orchestration.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to sing?
My favorite one to sing road. It's a very sad song, but it's somebody coming to the realization that this is the way life is, and they've come to terms with it. And I think it's something that everybody can connect to. It's a great equalizer for everybody in the room.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Remember the boy who cried wolf? I call this one the press that cried Hitler.
The president is not only racist, he's a bigot, but he is completely un-American. He is behaving like a fascist.
This is the president once again just thumping his chest and acting like he is the dictator that I think he wants to be.
The president of the United States is a wannabe dictator with authoritarian tendencies.
This is exactly what authoritarians do. This is what strongmen do. This is what happens in authoritarian regimes.
We have a president with a strong authoritarian personality.
Like a dictator from another nation.
People that grew up in authoritarian regimes, seeing echoes of that in President Trump. He likes these figures like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un.
This is more the actions of a dictator.
He totally wants to be a dictator. It's so obvious.
Much like Hitler took over the Nazi Party, Trump has taken over the Republican Party.
He went full Hitler.
Trump is as destructive a person in this century as Hitler, Stalin, and Mao were in the last century.
It's simply a Stalinist phrase, for God's sake.
He sounded not like a president of the United States. He actually sounded like Saddam Hussein.
This is Karen from Billerica, Massachusetts.
This is Adrian in Swanton, Vermont.
This is Miss Susan up in Warner, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm not sure if that's the Super Beets soft chews or the powder. Both of them are great, though. And, whichever way you want to go, I think you can get them with this deal. Tonight, the convention starts, and Bernie has 8 minutes, supposedly. 8 minutes. I don't know if they're going to hold him to that, but that's what the reports are, that he only has 8 minutes. AOC only has 1 minute, 60 seconds. That barely gives her enough time to describe her surprise at running into a garbage disposal. But, so, Taylor, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
How many times will Bernie Sanders make reference to the working class during his 8-minute speech at the DNC?
What are my options?
Under 5 times, 5 to 10 times, or over 10 times?
I'm going to say 5 to 10 times, about every 40 seconds, in other words, or 50 seconds.
70% say he's going to make reference to it over 10 times.
That's certainly possible, because I heard him talking about his speech this morning somewhere, and he mentioned the working class 2 or 3 times in I think, about a 20-second sound cut. All right. Now, with us we have Mark Sesteri from Southern Airways Express, and they fly to Nantucket. From where do you fly from?
Good to see you, Howie. We fly from Hyannis, Norwood Airport, Providence, and starting next Thursday, we will also be flying from New Bedford Airport.
All right, just in time for Taylor to take advantage of that.
That's right.
So this is great. So you fly, and this is great. Grace used Southern Airways a weekend before last.
It was so fun. Usually when you're going somewhere, the getting there part is the part that you wish you could kind of fast forward through. But in this case, it was my favorite part. I couldn't wait to get back on the plane. The views are amazing. Everyone who works there, the pilots, they're all so nice. And the plane itself is just gorgeous.
Rock star.
I felt like a rock star. I truly did.
Well, you are a rock star, Grace. So
it was really great. It is really pleasant to go down there, and I fly out of Norwood, and it's just so simple. Just it's like going down to the convenience store with a parking lot. Well, you don't have to hassle around. No TSA, no garage parking, no long-term park, none of that BS.
Yeah, well, summer's winding down, but Nantucket is beautiful this time of year, and even in September. It's a little less crowded. It's a little cooler, so it's a great time to go.
So how do people make reservations on Southern Airways?
Mm-hmm.
You can book online at iflysouthern.com. We also have a 24-hour call center, 800-329-0485.
Okay, so we're going to give away two tickets to Nantucket, round trip tickets
from anywhere we fly,
which is Norwood, Providence, Hyannis, and starting next Thursday, New Bedford as well. So it's one of those 4 places. Okay, so you have a open up the lines, I guess, so we can get them. We're going to try to do this. We did it last time. We did it with texting, but I think it's better to do it with just calls. So we have a question, and if you know the answer, and you can win 2 free tickets to Nantucket, round trip tickets on Southern Airways. It's a great trip, and the view is fantastic too, because it flies. Obviously, it's not a giant jet, so it flies lower, so you can see everything down below. It's great. 844-500-4242, 844. All right. You want to ask the question there, Mark?
The question this week is, which 1970s coming-of-age movie was set in Nantucket?
That's an easy one. We should have a quick winner. So if you know the answer, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. So how far in advance? Are you sold out for most of these flights now, or you're loading up?
It's interesting. We are getting a lot of last-minute bookings. I think because of COVID and all the crazy laws this year, people are deciding on a Wednesday that they want to go on Friday. So we have, a lot of the flights are booked, but we still have last-minute availability.
And again, Paul, you're next with Howie Carr and Mark Sesteri from Southern Airways Express. What the question is, which 1970s coming-of-age movie was set in Nantucket? Paul?
Okay, I'm going to go with Jaws.
Coming of age. What, Jaws was coming of age? Thanks, Paul. I thought he jumped up there so fast he'd have it for sure. Kathleen, you're next with Howie Carr and Mark. Go ahead. Kathleen, what's the name of the movie?
Summer 42.
You win, Kathleen.
Excellent.
Where do you live, Kathleen? Where do you live?
Oh, yeah. I live in Danvers.
Danvers? So you'll probably be flying out of Norwood. Yeah, Norwood. All right,
I don't care.
Stay on the line, Kathleen. Congratulations. Thanks, Mark.
Good to
you made
see you, Howie.
Kathleen's day.
We'll see you soon, Kathleen. Thanks,
okay.
Howie.
I'm Howie Carr. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr. If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places. With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe Home Security. They're longtime friends of the Howie Carr Show, and for good reason. Simply Safe has made it easy to finally get comprehensive protection for your home. There's no technician or salesperson that needs to come and disrupt your house. You don't need to pay any outrageous monthly fees or sign a 2-year contract. You just order online, set it up yourself in under an hour, and your home is protected 24/7 with emergency dispatch for break-ins, fire, and more. All for just 50 cents a day. And we're not the only fans of Simply Safe. U.S. News and World Report named Simply Safe Best Overall Home Security of 2020. Go to simplysafehowie.com to try it out for yourself. That's simplysafehowie.com to make sure they know that our show sent you. That's simplysafehowie.com.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was.
There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus.
I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again.
We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that.
I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player, and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned.
The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
Here's 1 minute of getting to know Jared Diglio. What would be your last meal on Earth?
Pizza. Cheese pizza. Just regular cheese pizza.
What drink are you going to have with your pizza?
I gotta go Coke. You gotta go Coke with pizza. It's the perfect combination.
Where's your favorite vacation spot?
I'm a staycation kind of guy. I like just staying in my place, but if I had to go to a destination, I love Italy, especially Rome.
If you could live in any state besides Massachusetts, which one would you choose?
Nevada. Wide open land. People leave you alone. Plus, it's not that far from Vegas or LA.
If you weren't in radio, what profession would you be in?
Gigolo.
Favorite comic book character?
Spider-Man. He's been my favorite since I was a kid. He's the most identifiable of the superheroes. He's just kind of a normal guy who's got a lot of problems, but he's got to overcome it and save the day.
Favorite Star Trek character?
I love TNG, but I gotta go with James T. Kirk.
Dogs or cats?
Neither.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. That was a good one. I'm glad we had a question that was not that difficult to get, unlike some of the other ones we've had. But yeah, Southern Airways. It's a great thing. It's so easy. I just can't imagine what the ferry's like with COVID-19, with all the all the BS with the masks and everything else, and I'm sure you have to social distance on the ferry and all that crap. I don't know what the status is with the cars either. So this makes it just so effortless to get there. And again, if on a day like this, when there's a clear day and you can see everything, you can see all the all the developments, the swimming pools, the cranberry bogs. It's really cool to fly over the canal, too. You never think about how big that canal is, or at least I don't. And then you can see both bridges, from the air. It's cool. Very nice. A lot of fun. All right, so Southern Airways, go for it. 844-500-4242. Ayanna Pressley, by the way, the congresswoman from Boston, she called over the weekend on MSNBC for more unrest in the streets, I mean, is that what we really need anywhere in the country? Whether it's Portland, Seattle, Chicago, or Boston. Do we really, Ayanna? Cut 16.
I'm looking to the public. This is as much about public outcry and organizing and mobilizing and applying pressure so that this GOP-led Senate and that these governors that continue to carry water for this administration, putting the American peoples in harm's way, turning a deaf ear to the needs of our families and our communities, hold them accountable. Well, make the phone call, send the email, show up. There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives. And unfortunately, there's plenty to go around.
Unrest in the streets. It's easy to have unrest in the streets when you don't have to get up and go to work in the morning, do you? Because you're getting your $600 or your $400 check from the feds, and the evictions have been halted, and nobody really has to do anything. So you can have unrest in the streets, I guess. You can worry about the post office boxes, mailboxes. How about the fact that the mob went to the Postmaster General's house in D.C., he has a condo, and demonstrated outside? Now, they say that it's too dangerous to go through their local precincts and vote on November 3rd, but apparently it's not dangerous to go out and have a demonstration and a near riot in August in D.C. Okay, I got it. All right, 844-500-4242. President Trump is just going on and on in Minnesota. He's just really unwinding here. He's talking about the vandalism and the riots.
Total control over Biden. He'll do anything I say. I have total control. What she's saying is, I have total control over this jerk. He'll do whatever the hell I want. That's putting it in more common language. But she said it just as mean as that. You know who I'm talking about, right? You saw that? What a horrible statement to make. And frankly, Kamala, nobody treated Joe Biden worse than Kamala.
Mentioned Pocahontas.
I mean, he was called a racist and just about everything else under the book. Then all of a sudden she said, he's such a fine man. Look, nobody treated him, including Pocahontas.
There it is.
Nobody on the debate stage, nobody treated Joe Biden worse than Kamala Harris.
Not even Pocahontas.
And she's got some big issues. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
Just won the primary.
How the hell did she win the primary? How did she win the Lacey? What the hell happened, Lacey? It's Jason's fault.
It is a rally. This is a rally.
This woman is crazy. She's a horrible woman who hates our country. Mail-in vote. You're right there, right? We'll have to check that. Let's check the mail-in vote. Now, seriously, how does a woman who hates our country, who says nothing but bad things about our country and Israel and other of our allies, how does this woman win? Where are the people that would vote for her? Omar called the Minneapolis police a cancer and said they were rotten to the root. But Joe Biden did not condemn the comments. He didn't want to talk about it. He didn't disavow her endorsement. He displays it proudly on his website. This is what's going to be running the country. This is the biggest change between what happened between now and Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary was bad news, right? She said, will you accept the results of the election? Will you accept the results of this election? And I sort of said, yeah, maybe, But she didn't accept them, right? Will you accept it? I remember that question. It was probably the toughest question I had out of all of them. But she hasn't been exactly a gracious loser. She's a loser, but not a gracious one. If Joe Biden and the radical Dems...
This is better than this morning on Fox and Friends.
If Joe Biden and the radical Dems take power, they will pass legislation gutting every single police department in America. That's going to happen. The Biden-Bernie manifesto calls for appointing far-left prosecutors, judges, and justices of the United States Supreme Court. Look, you know, we have a big thing with the court. The next president has a chance to do 3, 4, could even be 5. You will change this country around. It will be irreversible. It will be irreversible. And they'll coddle criminals and punish law-abiding citizens, these judges will. They'll take away your guns while letting criminal gangs like MS-13 roam free. Your Second Amendment will, look, it was under siege, but not really, because they had never a chance, right, fellas? They didn't have, they played the game with, they had no chance. When I'm here, they have no chance. Your Second Amendment is cherished. You need your Second Amendment. They will either take it away or obliterate it into meaningless nothing. In Joe Biden's America, the protections of American citizenship will be stripped away, and your community will be left at the mercy of the mob. I mean, I'm saying these things, but I mean them. When I look at what happened in Minneapolis, when you look at what's going on in different cities that are just unbelievable cities, remember this, though, most of the country is very safe. In fact, crime stats outside of Chicago and New York, a couple of them, crime stats are...
He's better outside in the Central Time Zone than he is at the White House.
Our country's,
much more comfortable.
Even during the pandemic, we're doing well, but where they're run by the liberal Democrats, we're not doing well, and we have to get in. You know, they have to ask us. We had to be asked. Here, they have to ask us, unless we take a very severe
action. He's got teleprompters up, but he's obviously ad-libbing.
But every time we go in, we solve the problem, and we solve it very quickly. Seattle, look at what's going on with Seattle. I mean, this is a city. This is a real city. And they took over a large portion of that city. And they knew we were going in the following day. They knew it. So they sent their police in. And it was like nobody ever gave up so easily as those characters. But they're radical left anarchists. Whether you're registered as a Democrat, Independent, or Republican, I'm asking for the vote of every American who believes that police officers are not enemies, but heroes who keep us safe. I also want to send our special thanks to the members of the Minnesota National Guard who did such an incredible job stopping the rioting, violence.
Governor Walz called them cooks at first.
They were great. I love it. I love that. It's just a beautiful thing. It's the way it's supposed to work. They cause problems. You have to do it. And the sooner you do it, the easier it is to do. My administration has made clear to every mayor and governor in the country that the federal government is ready to send the National Guard and federal reinforcements. We will wipe out the problem within minutes. You saw it happening right here. You wouldn't have a city if we didn't demand that that take place. You wouldn't have a city. All you have to do is say the word. Every voter should ask themselves a simple question. Do you want the radical left policies of Chicago, Minneapolis, San Francisco imposed on the entire country? Look at Nancy Pelosi. San Francisco's going to hell, and she's in Congress saying what we should be doing. Look at the homeless problem in San Francisco. Look at what's happening in San Francisco.
Their real estate values are starting to crash, too. Story in the Journal about it today.
And I must tell you this, does she love our country? Does she love our country? I don't think so, to be honest with you. What she's done is a disgrace to our country, what she's done. And Schumer, crying Chuck. Crying Chuck. He cries whenever it's important to cry. Do you want the failed policies of Mayor Bill de Blasio? Or Mayor Lori Lightfoot, Chicago? Or Mayor Jacob Fry?
Local boy makes bad from Minneapolis.
City and town in this nation? If left-wing Democrats can't run a city, why on earth would you let them run your country? We have such incredibly run cities. Such incredibly run cities. The problems we have are the radical left. And now she wants $1 trillion, and she's holding it up using a phony excuse of the post office because she wants $1 trillion to go, and you guys all know this. She wants $1 trillion to go to these badly run Democrat cities and states. That's what she wants. And she's using the post office. We want to fix the post office and make it better. It should have been fixed 30 years ago. Over the next 4 years, we're going to implement an aggressive strategy to fight violent crime. It's already been implemented. And we'll expand the surge of federal law enforcement into crime-plagued cities, and we can do that at will. We just have to hear from your governor. Call up. Just let us know. We'll be there. We are ready, willing, and able. We will hire more tough, violent crime prosecutors. We will hire more police. We will dismantle violent left-wing extremist groups like Antifa. They don't even want to say the name Antifa. They don't even want to say the name. And we will pass new laws to prosecute drive-by shootings and an act of domestic terrorism. They will suffer gravely. We will fight for a nation in which every American...
He seems really up. I think he likes that CNN poll. You know, I usually don't put too much stock in polls, but last month Biden had a 14-point lead, and today it's down to 4, which means there is no lead, which means Trump is in the lead. And that's the way he's reading it, I would say. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll see how long he keeps going during the break. But that's President Trump live from suburban Minneapolis, Mankato, Minnesota. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Folensby Inn of North Sutton, New Hampshire. Just 90 minutes from Boston on the shores of pristine Kezar Lake. Perfect for year-round relaxation. Book your stay at folensbyinn.com. Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the local water service experts, Skillings & Sons. They're ready with 24-hour service with no extra charge for after-hours calls. And a fleet of trucks stocked with parts to make sure you're not without water. With over 50 years of experience, they take pride in having a family of employees that are the best in the business. For all things water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. SkillingsandSons.com.
Recently, I had Global Marble and Granite install new gorgeous marble countertops in my home. Global Marble and Granite has the largest selection of marble, granite, and quartz on Cape Cod. They also serve Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and all of New England. People are spending more time in their homes, so now is the best time to upgrade your kitchen or baths. Your home is your biggest investment, and Global Marble and Granite is ready to increase the value. Visit their site and see my kitchens before and after shots. Go to globalcapecod.com or call 508-771-1001.
He might not be flashy, but he's there when it counts. Here's 1 minute of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
For the first time in my memory, I agree with Nancy Pelosi. I am indeed the Grim Reaper when it comes to the socialist agenda that they've been ginning up over in the House.
You've watched the fight, you've watched the tactics, but here's what I want to tell you. In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court.
Noted with great interest the Green New Deal, and we're going to be voting on that in the Senate. We'll give everybody an opportunity to go on record and see how they feel about the Green New Deal. Well, first on the impartiality issue, do you think Chuck Schumer is impartial? Do you think Elizabeth Warren is impartial?
No.
Bernie Sanders is impartial? So let's quit the charade. This is a political exercise. Nobody is supposed to be guilty until proven innocent in the United States of America. Look, we're at an impasse. We can't do anything until the Speaker sends the papers over, so everybody enjoy the holidays.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of the
No, there are
pandemic.
people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can also see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet.
Because if that's who they are, and if they are the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York.
Hi, this is John in the People's Republic of Amherst, Massachusetts.
This is Heather from Litchfield, Maine.
This is Kent, Wichita, Kansas, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. President Trump wrapped up his speech in Minnesota during the break. And somebody just texted me and said that early on, before we picked it up, Trump was saying that he was mostly ad-libbing because he couldn't read the teleprompters from the wind blowing them all over the place. Whatever the reason, it was a pretty good speech. I think he's energized by having a crowd, and I don't mean the White House so-called press corps, the Democrats, stenographers with press passes. He likes being in front of a real crowd of Americans, shall we say. 844-500-4242. Marge, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Marge.
How you doing, Howie?
Good.
You know, what is the most valuable possession every American citizen has?
Well,
it's our vote.
Yeah, it is.
And we're going to send that through the mail to be mutilated and spindled and possibly lost.
Well, Marge, as somebody said on Friday, if you won a lottery, if you had a winning lottery ticket for no matter how much money, would you send it through the mail to the lottery headquarters in Braintree or wherever they are now? Of course you would.
No way. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right. Exactly. And you know, it's not just that there's going to be fraud, although there will be fraud, as we've seen already from all these recent elections. But it's just, too, the fact that the post office can't handle it. And the post office sent out these letters that they sent out to the 46 states out of 50, telling them that they needed more time to process the ballots. They were trying to give the states a heads up. It wasn't saying, we're concerned about fraud. They were saying we're concerned about being able to get the ballots delivered to the vote counters on time. And they're pretending that all of a sudden that this is some kind of big scandal. And there's a picture on the internet of AOC posing with some post office, some mailboxes that have been rounded up and put in some pound somewhere or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it is. And she's acting like she's shocked. I have a feeling that if you asked her about how letters are delivered and what a stamp is, I think she'd have the same kind of deer in the headlights look that she had when she discovered the garbage disposal. She would probably say something like, What do they mean when they say a lot is the size of a postage stamp. Like, what does that mean? What is a postage stamp? How much does it cost? Where do you buy? Do you go to a stamp store? You know, she doesn't know anything about the post office. 844-500-4242. Steve, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Steve.
Howie, I watched Congressman Debbie from Michigan on Saturday or Sunday. I think it was Sunday. And she kept whipping up the scare tactic for seniors that they depend on their Social Security checks in the mail. But what the Congresswoman doesn't know is that since 2013, all Social Security checks are electronically transmitted.
Right.
There are no paper checks.
Oh, I think she knows, Steve.
But
I think she knows, Steve. She was married to that guy who was in Congress for about 100 years. She knew how he was getting his Social Security check, right, Steve? Just like Markey is still in Congress, but he's getting a Social Security check because he's in his 70s. Yeah,
very good point.
This is all BS, and they know all this. And they were also saying that discontinuing the payroll tax through the end of the year was going to somehow bankrupt the Social Security system. And when Obama did the same thing in 2012, Nancy Pelosi thought it was the best thing going to get the economy back on track again after 4 years of Obama malaise. But now it's a threat to Social Security. They've played that card way too many times. Talk about crying wolf. They've been talking about Republicans destroying Social Security for 60, 70, 80 years, I guess, because that's how long there's been some form of Social Security. Thanks for the call, Steve. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
I'm Kevin O'Connor. I'm a candidate for United States Senate. I'm a lawyer, a husband, I'm a father of 4 boys, and I'm a small business owner. Why am I running? I'm tired of the BS coming our way from Washington. We need to stop the Democratic Socialist agenda. When I'm your senator, I'll make sure that happens. On September 1st, vote for me for U.S. Senate. I'm Kevin O'Connor, and I approve this message. Paid for by Kevin O'Connor for U.S. Senate.
There's a lot to love about. There's a lot to love about you.
There's a lot to love about driving a brand new Subaru Forester. From its standard symmetrical all-wheel drive to its EyeSight driver assist technology. Love all the 2020 Forester has to offer. Lease for only $265 per month for 36 months with $24.65 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
The coronavirus has made our lives unpredictable, but one thing you can always count on, the White House press corps will always ask President Trump ridiculous questions.
Question, Mr. President, should Americans have to decide between staying healthy and going back to work?
Hey, just checking on oil again today. I was wondering if...
Oil?
Yeah.
Where is it today?
Well, I was wondering if you...
No, where's the price? Give me the price.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
How can you ask a question when you don't know the... Let me do somebody else.
What do you say to Americans who are scared, though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector General
what's his
report.
Name?
I don't know his name.
Some of your allies have been bashing these doctors. Would you tell them to cut it out?
Today you tweeted the invisible enemy will soon be in full retreat. Given it's invisible without widespread testing, how would you know?
Biden might be the frontrunner for the Democrats, but that isn't stopping him from serving up a whole lot of gaffes. Take a listen.
I believe that the president is literally an existential threat to America for 3 reasons. One, he is a genuine threat to our... I had permission to hug Lonnie. He says, let's make America great again. Let's make America America again. I think I'm either low IQ or slow, or I don't know what I am. Slow Joe Biden. Thanks for the Mary, and I'm going to be here a lot. I want the press to know she pulled me close. I just want you to know, okay? President Trump inherited an economy from Obama Biden. By the way, he gave me permission to touch it. They can't even figure out how to deal with
the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the in the west.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. I said, what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. No, are we allowed to grow? I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year. Because I've destroyed her political career, and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here are some rapid-fire questions with Taylor Cormier. If you had to live in a state besides Massachusetts, which would you choose?
Montana. No question about it. When is the last time you've heard of anything happening in Montana? The answer is you haven't. It's quiet. Nobody's going to bother you in Montana.
If you weren't a radio guy, what profession would you be in?
My number one dream job is to be an antique dealer. You know, like the American Pickers? I would love that job. Going through people's old garbage and junk and trying to find that diamond in the rough, and you're always learning as you go. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I think that's why I go antiquing on the weekends.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite TV show?
The Honeymooners. Jackie Gleason is the most hilarious person on television ever.
What is your favorite soda?
I'm not a big soda guy. It's got to be a special occasion for me to drink soda, but I'm partial to Dr. Pepper.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We thought we were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Demonstrators are demanding that Postmaster General Louis DeJoy end a series of recent changes. They say DeJoy, who's an ally of President Trump, is trying to sabotage the mail system ahead of the upcoming election.
It's hard to ignore all these anecdotal reports. Slow mail in Montana, removed mailboxes in Oregon. The president needs to sort of back off on his rhetoric.
But you remember this, when you control the mail, you control information.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Now, I have encouraged everybody, speed up the mail, not slow the mail.
The mail never stops. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you got to get it out. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
And I also want to have a post office that runs without losing billions and billions of dollars a year. Amazon, they come and they drop all their mail into a post office, and they say, here, you deliver it, you stupid people, you deliver it. And I said, raise the price. This guy's supposed to be so wealthy, so raise the price. Let him pay for it.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Crime is an issue in New York City. True. The genesis of the crime, the Trump economy, Trump not providing COVID relief, Trump's response to the George Floyd murder, Trump, there are good people on both sides, Ku Klux Klan. I think Trump has some liability for the increase in the crime. Trump.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Joe is shot. Let's face it, Joe is shot. Now, maybe people are going to feel sorry for him and maybe win, but if Joe makes it through the debate, if he can make it off the stage and walk back unassisted, they will say it was the single greatest debate performance in history. You know that, and so do I.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. Oh, excitement is building, isn't it? And not just in the beer capital of America, Milwaukee, or what was the beer capital, where the Democrat National Convention gets underway tonight.
Mike Bloomberg's going to speak.
Well, sort of. It's really kind of virtual, you might say. And I don't think these conventions have gotten many big ratings in many, many years, and this is probably going to be a new all-time low.
Based off the lineup, I would say yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a kind of a snooze fest all the way around. But you know, if you want to get all jazzed up, the panic of the week that the Democrats are trying to spread is the U.S. Postal Service. The Republicans are trying to wreck the U.S. Postal Service. Granny won't be able to get her Social Security check, even though, of course, Granny has been getting everything electronically deposited for at least 7-8 years now. And they're saying that this is all all Trump's doing, and Trump, and then the other thing, the COVID panic of the week among the Democrats, COVID-19 deaths skew younger in minorities. Story from the Wall Street Journal. There's only one thing missing: the number of deaths that are skewing younger. They have death rates. Oh, death rates. We're so concerned about death. Last week it was, you can't send the kids back to school. That didn't work. So now it's skewing death rates among younger minorities. So maybe when are they going back to ventilators or masks or nursing homes, Governor Cuomo? Joining me now is Grace. She's here with Grace's News.
I'm here, and I'm also here to make sure that you're not too worried about the Postal Service, because I, too, was worried about the sabotaging and the conspiracies and just the downfall of what is always known to be the most reliable, successful service in American history, the U.S. Postal Service. But I have good news. Someone thought of an idea to fix this behemoth of disaster.
Who might that be?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the congresswoman from the Bronx. She has an idea that is going to resurrect the USPS. And it's...
This is the woman who didn't know where turnips came from or lettuce. And this is the woman who claimed she'd never seen a garbage disposal. This is the woman who was accused of dipping into the tip jar at the bar she used to work at.
Howie, please don't try to sully her idea, okay?
This is the socialist vanguard queen who just bought herself a nice little French bulldog puppy for about $3,000.
She's also getting 60 seconds to speak at the DNC. And if you want to read a column on that, you can check mine out at the Boston Herald. I'll post it later today on our website, howiecarrshow.com. But without further ado, this is AOC's Progressive Pen Pal program.
Hello, everyone. I have been thinking about ways to help you help the post office. And I think I've got an idea, and I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. So one of the best ways to support the post office is to buy stamps. What do you all think? Would you guys be down and excited if I set up a national progressive pen pal program? Do all the work of connecting you to somebody else. We would offer maybe some conversation prompts or postcard prompts, and even like a printable postcard format. You just send it out. Would you guys be down? Do you like that idea?
Those are mighty scary words from AOC. I have been thinking.
I have to say.
Then followed by another scary thought from her. I think I have an idea.
We did pen pal programs when I was in elementary school, and even as a second grader, I think they gave us free range of what topics to cover. I don't think we got prompts, is all I'm saying. I'm just saying, have a little faith in the pen pals that they might be able to come up with some of their own ideas. It seems very heavily curated.
Well, I wasn't planning on watching it tonight, but now that I know she's got these kinds of remarkable observations on various aspects of our society, I will have to be watching those 60 seconds tonight.
That's a TikTok length of time, 60 seconds. It does not give her a lot of time to say what she wants to say, but I think that is the purpose of it. They don't want to give her a lot of time to scare the moderates. And that's why they chose a moderate VP like Kamala Harris, who, according to the New York Post, is not having much effect on voters after being picked for VP. So today
She's like all vice presidential picks. She's not having an effect.
Yeah, but I think they probably had more faith that she would have an effect because their actual candidate is so incredibly weak that you thought maybe it would add a little harumph, a little pizzazz.
Did you know that she flunked the bar exam?
I did not know that, but I don't keep track of who's flunked it as often as you do.
Well, I think that says a lot about, someone who can't pass the bar. I mean, look at the people who haven't passed the bar exam that we know in politics. Hillary Clinton, for instance. Deval Patrick, our former governor here in Massachusetts, he flunked it twice.
Didn't someone take it?
Governor Crash Murray, he flunked it twice.
Didn't someone take it a ton of times, like 6 or 7 times, and never passed?
Well, yeah, a guy down in Plymouth County from Brockton, one of the Credence. And then there was a guy that the Kennedys tried to appoint to the federal court. His name was Morrissey. And I think he took it 13 times before he passed.
It's got to be they should really make it one of those things where if you don't pass after the 5th time, someone, calls you up and says, this just isn't for you.
Sink or swim.
Yeah, this isn't your calling.
But you put in all this time and effort, and you went to all these bar refresher courses, and then you just keep flunking it.
But yeah, so the polls are saying that 71% of respondents said the California lawmaker won't impact their choice, while 17% said her appearance makes them more likely to vote Democrat, and 10% said it makes them less likely to vote Democrat. So today was an interesting day for polls because that came out, and also the poll that you were talking about in the first hour, Howie, came out from CNN, which showed that Biden, according to their polls, which we are all skeptical of, has dropped from a 10-point lead.
14-point lead.
A 14-point lead to a
4-point lead.
4-point lead. That's a big drop down.
Yeah, that is 10 points.
And a lot of people are wondering, is that going to be enough? I know Rush Limbaugh was wondering it today. Is that going to be enough to scare Joe Biden out of the basement?
Well, I remember when Mike Dukakis ran for president back in 1988, a long time ago now. But when he came out of the Democrat convention, he had a 17-point lead over George H.W. Bush. 17 points. And he ended up getting crushed in the general election.
And all he did was put on a hat.
Well, he put a helmet. It was a helmet. Hey,
but compared to Biden, it's not that bad.
No, I mean, he could at least speak in complete sentences.
Right. So I'll be curious to see what happens there. I do agree with Howie. I think Trump has a new pep in his step with this poll. And
he just spoke he just had what amounted to a rally. It looks like the airport in suburban Minneapolis. And he was really wound up today, a lot more wound up than he's been at these recent press conferences that he's had at the White House and in New Jersey.
Well, I don't want to bring this back to me, but I am a thespian. I am a performer. And I will say that what we used to have is we'd have shows. We'd have 6 shows after for a performance. And, sometimes you get a show, the opening night, it'd be all the parents, all the families, so excited to see you on stage. And you'd perform really well because you're looking out at this audience and they're just alive. They're ready for it. They're laughing. And then on Sundays, we'd have all the athletes who had to come for a class to get a credit. And they'd be staring at you with these deadpan faces, just not enjoying the performance at all. And I feel like that's probably how Trump feels. He's looking out at Jim Acosta, giving him the hairy eyeball every day. He probably loses a little bit of his pizzazz.
Well, he mentioned some of that today about how Biden doesn't take questions, and then he points out what happens to him every day. Cut 10.
And somebody like Biden, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't come out because he can't. He doesn't take any questions from reporters. I keep saying to my people, here I am getting bombs thrown at me every day by people that are totally, frankly dishonest reporters.
Cut 11. Keep going with this.
When they ask me questions, I have these people, there's fire out of their eyes coming. They're asking me questions, and I see the fire is burning in their eyes, and I'm looking at some of them. I said, boy, how could you have so much hatred? And we're having such success.
I'm honestly, sometimes I'm surprised he doesn't ask. Like when he sees Caitlin Collins, she stares at him with such disdain. I would just look at her and go, why do you hate me so much?
Or like the guy last week who asked him, do you regret lying over the past 3.5 years to the American people thousands of times?
Taylor, that was just a money thing. He just figured he'll get a book contract out of that. He's like all these people that claim they're risking their lives by going to the press, going to the White House every day. They're going to be dragooned and thrown into the trunk of a car and taken over to Fort Marcy Park. Give me a break.
What a great word.
Dragooned?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good word, actually.
Hey, Howie, when we get back, I have a story that is breaking, and it is about something that is very near and dear to your heart, pepperoni.
That is near and dear to my heart and my stomach, even more than my heart. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Good thing Roman makes treating erectile dysfunction simple, safe, and from the comfort of your own home. Get a free online evaluation today at GetRoman.com/Howie. If approved, you'll get $15 off your first order of erectile dysfunction treatment. Campers, are you thinking about getting a new or used RV this year? This is Howie Carr, and Cold Springs RV is ready for you. The 2021 models are now arriving daily, but they won't last long. After one visit, you will understand why they are a one-stop shop for all things camping. With all the top RV brands, a new state-of-the-art service center, a new RV body shop, and a huge store full of accessories, you don't need to go anywhere else. If it is service you need, the brand new state-of-the-art service facility is ready for you. They service all makes and brands. If your RV needs body work, they have you covered. They can help you with collision repair, roof replacement, or even a new paint job. From minor repairs to major insurance jobs, Cold Springs RV can do it all. As a full-service RV dealer, you know they can fix just about anything. If you are a service technician and want to work for the best, ask about employment today. Cold Springs RV, Route 114 in Ware, New Hampshire. ColdSpringsRV.com, your destination for all things camping.
Here are some rapid-fire questions with Taylor Cormier. What is one thing about you that might surprise people?
This just came up the other day, and I had forgotten I had done it, so it was kind of a surprise to me. I'm in a zombie movie, and that came about through an old radio job. I was interviewing somebody. They were doing a casting call for extras. I gave them the idea of doing a zombie scene in our radio station, and I was attacked by zombies in my own radio studio. It's a corny movie, but it's supposed to be that way, and I think I did a great job.
Dogs or cats?
Cats. I've grown up with cats. We have a cat now. They're just easier to take care of. You can leave them throughout the whole day, and they're going to be just fine. In fact, they won't even care that you're gone. They'll be glad you're gone.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
McDonald's or Burger King?
Used to be Burger King. They had better fries way back when, but now it's McDonald's.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What is your least favorite Frank Sinatra song to sing?
My Way in New York. I can't stand My Way. It's a very self-promoting song, and New York's very difficult to sing.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy'd out.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much. But no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time up at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
Hi, this is Cindy from Osterville, Massachusetts.
This is Brett Rock from Dunstable, Massachusetts.
This is Amy in Lisbon Falls, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
How many times will Bernie Sanders make reference to the working class during his 8-minute speech at the DNC? Under 5 times, 5 to 10 times, or over 10 times?
I'm going to say 5 to 10. I've been thinking about this all day.
That's it, 5 to 10?
5 to 10.
26% say 5 to 10. 70% say over 10 times.
Wowzers. Okay, guys.
I'm not sure he's going to stick to 8 minutes. You know, what are they going to do? They're going to shut him off if he goes over 8 minutes?
Give him the hook?
People of his political persuasion, like, say, Fidel Castro. I mean, Fidel Castro could speak for 4 hours at a time, 5 hours at a time, and he didn't take commercial breaks, unlike me, and he didn't have a chump line or anything like that, or a co-host. None of that.
Fidel?
Fidel.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like we would have heard it if he had a chump line. I don't think 8 minutes is even enough time for Bernie to really get warmed up, especially because he's been off of the circuit for so long. He probably has a lot to say. Probably got a lot of pent-up ideas. Maybe some pen pal programs like AOC. Anyway, Howie, pepperoni prices are spiking.
Really?
Thanks to COVID-19. Yes, COVID has forced meat processors to streamline operations. Streamline, that's a Charlie Baker word, and hampered their ability to produce pepperoni, leading to higher prices for smaller pizzerias.
How is their ability to make pepperoni hampered? Grace, you have to explain these things.
I'm going to explain the prices to you first. Charlie's Pizza House in South Dakota, for instance, is now paying $4.12 a pound for the beloved topping, up just $2.87 a pound in January. Demand for pizza has reportedly surged as the pandemic shut consumers in their home, but big chains and Domino's have struggled with higher pepperoni prices because they usually pay set rates for ingredients under long-term contracts.
I have noticed the price has been a little higher. I usually buy the sticks, and the sticks now can cost you over $4.
Oh, yeah. I know, and it's hard because pepperoni on pizza is just so good because they become like little cups of grease and they hold all the grease.
I know, but I use them for other things too. I like them on a piece of cheese with a cracker.
Yeah, you're really keeping the pepperoni business alive.
He puts them on his nachos too.
And I do put them on nachos. Taylor's right. Taylor was hungrily eyeing my nachos the other day.
I was not hungrily eyeing your nachos. I was eyeing them in disgust and marvel.
We smelled something, and we were all convinced there was some sort of fish on your nachos, and then we wanted to confirm.
Yes,
what
all of the ingredients made a very befuddling scent.
There was rice, there was pesto, there was cheese, there was some chicken, and there was some pepperoni.
Can we get some expiration dates on all these items, sir?
I'll call them trash can nachos.
They really were. Did you guys see this video over the weekend of the woman who ambushed the Hawaiian wedding? There was a Hawaii beach wedding, and this woman starts recording it.
That was a super Karen did that.
It was a super Karen, and it was a small wedding. Like, it seemed like they were just having a small, lovely little ceremony, and then she starts filming, and she says, I don't want to be rude, but I had enough of this. Bleep! Aloha,
Isn't
aloha.
Hawaii screwed up enough with the, you're off the mainland, and then it's easy to track people who are coming in, and they have this 14-day quarantine, or they did until very recently. I think it's still in effect. So I mean, they've totally cratered the economy in Hawaii. It's almost as bad as Massachusetts.
When people's reactions, like Howie and I were driving the other day, and we saw all these kids at a camp, playing soccer or something, and seeing people do normal things right now brings me such joy. Right, even if it's small, I'm like, that's wonderful.
Give it a little league game.
Yeah. The fact that you see a couple getting married with a few of their family members and your instant reaction is, oh, I'm going to take this down. I'm getting my camera out.
It wasn't like a big wedding. It was only 7 or 8 people.
Yeah. Right. And that's why I'm not getting married, because if someone tried to do that to me, I'm going to get married next year. But if someone tried to do that to me this year, it would be Jerry Springer status if someone tried to ruin my wedding.
Doesn't Hawaii have a snitch line like most other woke states, so that you could just call in and tell the governor or the mayor directly that you've seen this kind of scofflaw activity.
Can we call her Howie Karen?
I like that.
844-500-4242. NASDAQ closes at all-time high. The president will soon be speaking in Oshkosh, Bagosh, Wisconsin. I'm Howie Carr.
Matthews Brothers with 1T, America's oldest window manufacturer. For over 8 years, we here at Matthews Brothers have ended every stupid commercial with that simple but repetitive spelling reminder. Even so, people come up to us every day and say, "Hey there, Mr. Man, were those Matthews Brothers fictional or were they real, like the Marx Brothers, the Wright Brothers, or the Blues Brothers?" We usually respond with, "Listen here, sister. 25 years before Tom Edison invented electricity, Spencer, Noah, and Sanford Matthews started making their first wicked awesome windows in Belfast, Maine. Being the clever fellas they were, they decided to call the company Matthews Brothers. Over the next 166 years, the company passed from the Matthews to the Frost to the Lang and finally to the Hawthorne family, who today are in their third generation of leadership and management. This continuity has allowed us to maintain the Matthews Brothers traditions of superior quality, outstanding performance, and surprising affordability. You can learn more about our wicked awesome Maine-made windows and doors, but only at Better Lumberyards and Window Professionals or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. That's Matthews Brothers with 1T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word?
Poop.
Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop? Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
We all shop online, and now you could do it a better way with Honey. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more. And Honey has found over $2 billion in savings for its users. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. It's 100% free to use and installs in seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. So get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of 2 poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of the
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. because I can all see you are in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet.
Because if that's who they are, and if they are the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. On Friday, it was revealed that crooked former FBI lawyer Kevin Kleinsmith was going to plead guilty to one count of filing a false report, and it's a felony, I guess. And we talked about it, and it got a total of 28 seconds on ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN. 28 seconds on Friday night on all 5 or 6, however many networks there are, liberal networks. But we're going to talk about it again today with Joe DeGeneva, the former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. And Joe, how significant is this? We knew he was guilty as sin, but what's the next step? How do we advance the story, as they used to say in journalism school?
Yes, when journalism existed.
Yes.
Well, the next step is that he's going to plead guilty on Wednesday in U.S. District Court in D.C. He's already cooperating with Mr. Durham. I'm sure he will be in the grand jury after he takes his plea. And then his sentencing will be postponed to see if he cooperates. He probably has information about a number of people at the senior levels of the FBI who knew what was going on with the Carter Page warrants, but also who knew about the spying that had been going on since 2014 of the NSA databases, a long-forgotten subject of everybody, and which, of course, is the genesis of the entire spying campaign. It was a very, very wide-ranging spying campaign, not just on President Trump. He was the last victim, but there were many victims, many American citizens, almost all of whom apparently are Republicans who were spied on by the Obama FBI and Justice Department. Also, he will be giving a testimony about, again, other FBI officials like Baker, who apparently is cooperating, and Price staff, who may very well be forced to cooperate if he isn't cooperating already. So, this is the beginning of a very important part of the investigation.
Is Price staff the individual, the SSA, the special senior agent that's referred to in the information?
He's the former head of counterintelligence of the FBI, and it could be Price staff. I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that. It probably is him.
Tell people what the significance is of the fact that it's an information that was filed against him rather than an indictment. What does that indicate?
Yeah, well, an information is filed by a United States attorney in lieu of indictment when the defendant waives his right to a grand jury under the Fifth Amendment and agrees to plead guilty. So that means that he's going to plead guilty and that he is cooperating. And indeed, his attorney, Mr. Kleinsmith's attorney, has said publicly that he is in fact cooperating as part of his plea agreement. So that the significance is going down for the count voluntarily.
So how far up do you think he can lead investigators? This guy looks like he's a pretty low level guy. Although he was working for
No.
He was working for Mueller.
Not low level. He was the senior legal counsel on a host of counterintelligence investigations and the Russia case. The press has tried to portray him as a nothing burger and as a nudge. In fact, he is a central figure. He knows everybody. He knows who did what. He would have had access to all sorts of facts and circumstances and people as a central cog in the wheel because he was key to getting stuff done. I mean, the Carter Page warrant doesn't occur without him. He's the big kahuna.
So I'm looking at the headline from the New York Times story, and of course it was written. It was written by Adam Goldman, who won a Pulitzer Prize for his participation in the Russian hoax. Here's the headline, and tell me if you were just coming across this somewhere, if you would read the story. Ex-FBI lawyer expected to plead guilty in Durham investigation. Read between the lines, Joe. Don't read this story. That's what the headline writer is telling you. That's what the New York Times is saying. Could there be anything more boring than Durham investigation? They don't say Russian collusion hoax or Obamagate. Durham investigation.
Molly Hemingway, who is a great writer, has done a fabulous deconstruction of the Adam Goldman piece and just tears him apart limb from limb about how they've done everything they can to excuse this as an insignificant piece of progress in the Durham investigation. The New York Times, which of course is single-handedly responsible for propagating the Russia hoax, and knew it while they were going through it. They just wanted to get Trump so badly that they were willing to print false information in their pages. Goldman is just sort of sad to watch what has happened at the New York Times. But you and I have talked about that so many times. This is another example of the complete capitulation to the mob.
No, I'm looking at Molly Hemingway's story. We'll tweet it out. That's from the Federalist. But this guy Adam Goldman, this quote unquote Pulitzer Prize winning scribe, this crackerjack investigative reporter, he avoided mentioning that Kleinsmith was a part of the special counsel's probe, the Mueller-Weissman probe, until the 24th paragraph. Joe, how many people get to the 24th paragraph of any story?
Well, the whole purpose of this, as you well know, is to simply get something on the record so that they can say disingenuously that, we covered all of that. We weren't missing any of this.
Right.
The truth, though, is these Pulitzers, which were handed out for this false reporting, are really it's an amazing story of the demise of American journalism. Not only have the journalists become claptrap in the modern world, but the Pulitzer Committee has become claptrap. I mean, they should demand the awards back, and they don't even care. They're delighted to be part of this farce. I mean, the Pulitzer thing is a joke.
Yeah, it is. And Kleinsmith was removed from the Russian collusion investigation not for falsifying evidence, because they didn't know about it at the time, but for his extreme anti-Trump texts. So he was almost as bad as Peter Strzok and Lisa Page when it came to hating Donald Trump, right?
Yes, he was viva la resistance. Was he going to stick around in the FBI? Was he going to leave because Trump won? He said, "Of course I'm going to stick around. Viva la resistance!" And boy, did he carry it out. He not only resisted, he committed a crime resisting, and he falsified documents to the FISA court. Something very interesting. He's going to be pleading guilty in front of James Boasberg, who is the current chief judge of the FISA court. My question is, why is Boasberg taking this plea? I would think he would be conflicted out of this, but I guess I'm wrong.
I would assume he's not going to do any time. Do you think he'll lose his law license or just be suspended?
Well, he should be disbarred. No. This is the worst offense for any lawyer: knowingly file a false document where you know you're going to have the worst type of intrusive violation of the Fourth Amendment on an American citizen. He's disbarred. He's done. He's not. If he isn't disbarred, it'll only be because the District of Columbia bar is full of lefties and loony at its core.
Yeah, I'm going to bet he's not. I'm going to bet he'll be suspended, but I'm going to bet he's practicing law in 10 years again, Joe. I don't know.
We'll see. I hope I'm around to answer that question.
I'm looking at Molly Hemingway's story here. She's quoting Goldman here, and again, I'm going over this because it's just so instructive of how corrupt the mainstream media is. Republicans, this is Goldman's story in the New York Times. Republicans have seized on a narrow aspect of the inquiry, the investigation into Mr. Page, in a long-running quest to undermine it. Well, number one, it's been undermined. It was baseless. They even admitted it was baseless. But as Molly says, FISA abuse was never a narrow aspect of the inquiry, and everyone should have seized upon it, because lying to a FISA court and violating any American civil liberties is evil, right?
Yeah, listen to the language that Goldman uses to undermine. No, actually, the investigation by Mueller and the Democrats in the House and the corrupt Senate Intelligence Committee and the FBI and the DOJ was a corrupt investigation. This is not some little tweaking of the system and some narrow aspect. This is part of the main scheme to reverse a national election by purposely lying about a sitting president and a candidate and trying to destroy him and all the people around him. The Michael Flynn case is the progeny of this. The Michael Flynn case, the cases against Papadopoulos and others, the phony Russian bot cases are part of this. The disgraceful use of the U.S. judicial system to go after a sitting president knowing he was innocent. I mean, to write that article and to suggest that this is some partisan activity completely undermines the New York Times. This is about the rule of law, which the people in the New York Times decided they were going to help destroy in order to protect Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden, and to destroy Donald Trump. These people actually get up every morning and feel that they are doing a public service. Could you believe this stuff?
I don't think he feels at all embarrassed. He just this was part of his job. He's a cog in the deep state machine, and he has to cover his fellow cog, who is Kleinsmith. And I don't think Kleinsmith is unhappy because he got caught, but I don't think he regrets it from any kind of ethical standpoint. Do you?
I don't think so. I think these people are soulless. All you have to do is look at the chief editor of the New York Times, Dean Baquet, who says that they have decided that their job is to simply tear down Donald Trump. I mean, the 1619 Project, America's built on slavery, Donald Trump is evil, nothing really happened here, Hillary Clinton was completely innocent. You have to be a loon. The New York Times has actually lost itself. I mean, they're nuts at the New York Times. To write that stuff, you have to go back to the 1950s and look at Pravda and Izvestia in the Soviet Union. This is propaganda of a Soviet variety.
Yeah. Goldman doesn't mention the dossier, the fake dossier, until the 29th paragraph of this 30-paragraph story. The 29th paragraph. And he was quoting this for 3 years as sort of the holy Bible of the Russian collusion hoax.
Yes, the dossier was the Rosetta Stone. Everything flowed from it. It was perfection. It came from this storied MI6 spy, Christopher Steele. We now learn that Christopher Steele's main source was a drunk who did nothing more than try to earn his substantial fee by calling all other drunk friends who were whoring around and getting hearsay crapola from them. And now it's just, that Steele thing. Oh, yes, I remember that. I think it had something to do with Trump, but I'm not sure what.
What's going to happen next, Joe? Last question.
I think that Durham would not have done this were he not preparing other indictments. People don't cooperate to write a report. They cooperate to indict other people. There will be other indictments, and I assume they'll be happening, before Labor Day.
I hope so.
In addition, his report is going to come out. I'm fascinated by the fact that he is going to publish a report, and Barr says he is. So that's going to be a doozy. because that's what's going to set these people off. They're going to go crazy. They're going to say, how could he do this? He doesn't have the authority to do that. Oh, yes, he does, and he's going to do it, and it's going to be ugly. And even the people who aren't indicted are going to have to live with it. This is going to be fun. Let me tell you, it's only going to get better from here, Howie.
I hope so, Joe. I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. All right. That's Joe DeGeneva. He's the former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, and he's following it very closely, as are we all, I dare say. Everyone knows PayPal, but did you know they're teaming up with Honey now to save you money? Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your card, and now it's part of the PayPal family. What you do is you just add Honey to your computer. It only takes a few seconds. It's very easy, and most importantly, it's free. Just add Honey to your computer, and then you start shopping on all your favorite sites like you normally do. When you check out, just click the little Apply Coupons button that will pop up once you put Honey into your computer. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web, and as you know, there are millions of them.
There's so many, especially right now as fall's around the corner. There's so many fall fashions, and there's so many coupons to be had. Once again, Howard, I don't spend a lot of money online shopping, but a very good friend of mine does, and she gets a lot of good deals with Honey.
When was the last one your friend got?
This morning.
Yeah? How much?
I bought this beautiful coat for the fall. I'm sorry. My friend bought this beautiful coat for the fall season, and it's just going to look amazing on camera. I mean, when she wears it.
How much?
That's for my friend to
know. How much did you save?
I got free shipping and 10% off.
Well, that's pretty good. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, DoorDash, Home Depot, Lululemon, Macy's, and more. Honey has found over $2 billion in savings. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. Honey is free to use, I repeat, and installs in just seconds. Get Honey today at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie and start saving big bucks. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine...
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you...
When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. All right. And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried...
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? Do you think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is.
This is Kevin from Brockton.
This is Karen from Boiling Springs, South Carolina.
This is Officer Mark calling from beautiful Stratford County, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
There are a lot of good stories out about this Kleinsmith guilty plea, the crooked FBI lawyer. And we'll tweet out the Molly Hemingway story from today, where she deconstructed the Adam Goldman piece in the New York Times. Even if you're not that into following journalistic misdeeds, this is pretty good story, pretty good read. Andrew McCarthy, has a former federal prosecutor, has a good story about the guilty plea as well in the National Review. We'll tweet that one out also. 844-500-4242. Rick, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rick.
Hey, Howie.
Hi.
I just wanted to comment about the postal fiasco.
The fact that the demonstration by the mob in front of Postmaster General DeJoy's condo in D.C. Yes.
Well, they want mail-in voting, but they're all out at the same place demonstrating. you can't fix stupid.
I know it was kind of like everything was shut down in May, and then they decided to have all these riots after George Floyd's death, and somehow that was okay to go out and not wear masks and loot and riot, but it wasn't okay to go to church or play around a golf. Right? This is the same thing.
That's right. You can't fix stupid. How you know when you're dead and you can't feel anything, but those around you feel pain? It's the same way when you're stupid.
Rick, I don't know if they're stupid or they just know there's not going to be any blowback from the mainstream media. I mean, who else other than you and me and a bunch of people who watch this over the weekend? But most of us we're very seldom on TV. So they get away with it, and they think that nobody's noticing how stupid they look. Thanks for the call, Rick. Don, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead quickly, Don.
Yes, Howie. I saw a podcast on Judge Stephanopoulos asked Joe Biden a question, and he caught him in a lie. I haven't heard a word about it.
What was the lie?
It was something about when did you know and what did you know and when did you know it about going after Trump.
Oh, that's right. And he said he didn't know anything about it, even though Flynn, going after Flynn, right? And even though Peter Strzok, the crooked FBI agent, another one, his notes indicated that it was Biden who suggested using the Logan Act, which has never been used to prosecute anybody successfully, but they were going to use it. And Biden says he can't remember. Who's going to contradict him? I'm Howie Carr. I recently had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but this reminded me again of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer, a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. Right now, when a lot of people don't want to go into the city, Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, and parking is free. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols that Perfect Smiles has taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. Call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile. Change your life.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate. Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, you know? I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother."
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe Home Security. They're longtime friends of the Howie Carr Show, and for good reason. Simply Safe has made it easy to finally get comprehensive protection for your home. There's no technician or salesperson that needs to come and disrupt your house. You don't need to pay any outrageous monthly fees or sign a 2-year contract. You just order online, set it up yourself in under an hour, and your home is protected 24/7 with emergency dispatch for break-ins, fire, and more. All for just 50 cents a day. And we're not the only fans of Simply Safe. U.S. News and World Report named Simply Safe Best Overall Home Security of 2020. Go to simplysafehowie.com to try it out for yourself. That's simplysafehowie.com to make sure they know that our show sent you. That's simplysafehowie.com.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts,
I get in trouble some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's 1 minute of CNN's Don Lemon.
What do you say to those Trump voters who prioritize the economy over the president's bigotry?
I have a big announcement, and it's somewhere on my body.
Because the biggest purveyor of fake news is the president in this country, because he does it a lot.
I'm just going to speak from the heart here. What we have witnessed was a total eclipse of the fact.
If you thought I went hard in 2019, watch 2020, baby. There's more to come. I'm a soldier. I'm ready to fight.
Talking about the cost of this parade and where there would be tanks, right? And would there be nuclear weapons? Americans, are you mad as hell? I wouldn't normally address this. As a journalist, I don't really like being the story here. Kanye West, entitled to his own opinion, but is not very bright and not very, when it comes, I'm talking about this issue, not overall. So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right to the right.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And VB was always saying that we were whipped, if you know what I mean. Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Demonstrators are demanding that Postmaster General Louis DeJoy end a series of recent changes. They say DeJoy, who's an ally of President Trump, is trying to sabotage the mail system ahead of the upcoming election.
It's hard to ignore all these anecdotal reports. Slow mail in Montana, removed mailboxes in Oregon. The president needs to sort of back off on his rhetoric.
But you remember this, when you control the mail, you control information.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Now, I have encouraged everybody, speed up the mail, not slow the mail.
The mail never stops. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you gotta get it out, and the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
And I also want to have a post office that runs without losing billions and billions of dollars a year.
Amazon, they come and they drop all their mail into a post office and they say, here, you deliver it, you stupid people, you deliver it. And I said, raise the price. This guy's supposed to be so wealthy, so raise the price. Let him pay for it.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Crime is an issue in New York City. True. The genesis of the crime, the Trump economy, Trump not providing COVID relief, Trump's response to the George Floyd murder, Trump, there are good people on both sides, Ku Klux Klan. I think Trump has some liability for the increase in the crime. Trump.
unchained, and unstoppable.
Joe is shot. Let's face it, Joe is shot. Now, maybe people are going to feel sorry for him and maybe he win, but if Joe makes it through the debate, if he can make it off the stage and walk back unassisted, they will say it was the single greatest debate performance in history. You know that, and so do I.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
It's so exciting tonight, the start of the Democrat convention. What more could you want on your local or national TV show, channel? Wow.
I'd rather watch a Ron Popeil infomercial.
I think tonight I'm going to take in a couple of highway patrols starring Broderick Crawford. I think it's that kind of night. Maybe read a little Earl Stanley Gardner, the DA series, because I've read all the Perry Masons. But yeah, and then of course I will want to catch AOC's 1 minute and also the 8 minutes of Bernie to see how many times he says working class. All right, time now for the chump line.
Hello. Thank you for calling the National Progressive Pen Pal program. To correspond with a death row prison inmate, press 1. If you're currently incarcerated, press 2. To buy an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez commemorative stamp booklet, press 3.
Do you think AOC knows how much a stamp costs? No way. Could she come within $2 of how much a stamp costs? Doubtful. Does she know the difference between parcel post, first class, and junk mail? Absolutely no bleeping way.
A virtual convention for a virtual candidate.
Are they going to have cutaways? You know, sometimes in these conventions, during the opening nights, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they will have cutaways, or they'll show the candidate visiting somewhere. You know, they never showed John F. Kennedy shacking up with ladies of the evening like he did in L.A. in 1960. But you know what I mean. I don't think we're going to see too much of that. Maybe the waiter bringing in Joe's tapioca pudding this evening while he watches Bernie.
I hear Martin Scorsese is going to direct Biden's segment, and they're going to do the de-aging process like they did in the Irishman. But it's still going to be an 80-year-old guy.
I know. The thing is, what are you going to do? He still has to talk. It doesn't matter what he looks like. He's still going to have to read from a teleprompter or from some notes. Not possible. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, loving the Democrat National Convention and all the uplifting, positive, and most of all, patriotic speeches. All the well-rehearsed one-liners, and perhaps for the first time since FDR gave his fireside speeches on television, the first pre-recorded acceptance speech. Yeah, that's what Trump was talking about today. This will truly be an historic election.
I think you need some Super Beats, Howie.
I was up late last night.
Hey, Howie, if there is anything worse than COVID-19, it would be Biden 20.
Yeah. The only good thing about Biden 20, and it's not even worth, I shouldn't describe it as good, it will get rid of COVID-19. I think if Biden loses, when Biden loses, they'll just double down even worse on COVID-19.
Howie, Joe Biden calling. Come on, man. I oppose all-mail voting. We need a constitutional amendment to allow for female voting, too. I mean it.
Well, that's good. That's an upgrade in the Joe Biden cuts. Now we have the birds behind him, just like real Joe Biden. Good work, Chump Line caller.
So now Joe Biden is Joey B. Does that stand for Joey Basement?
Joey B and Cardi B. And again, take a look at that. You don't have to watch the whole 16 minutes. Just watch the first 3 or 4 jump cuts and tell me how bad Joe Biden must have been for them to be editing the tape in that fashion.
Hey, Howie. Joe Biden said he had 4 good kids. What the heck? Which ones are those?
Hey, they all made a lot of money. Even Bo. Although Bo died early and he didn't make as much as Hunter did, and he didn't get into as much trouble as Hunter did.
The Dems know they can't win an election unless they engage in some sort of deception. If they get away with this foul play, we will all suffer from a liberal infection.
Amen. Amen. And it will not be treatable with penicillin.
So, all right, they moved the mailboxes from 50 states, but at least you'll be able to find a mailbox in those 7 others they didn't touch.
Speaking of Barack Obama, did you see that Politico quoted him as saying that Joe Biden could basically bleep up anything, and that Joe Biden was more than capable of bleeping up this election? I think Obama, despite not being the sharpest knife in the drawer himself, was pretty observant when it came to watching his vice president for 8 years. And he knows if Hillary Clinton and John Kerry and Mike Dukakis and Al Gore could bleep up, it's definitely possible, if not probable, that Joe Biden is going to screw up before it's all over.
How about some unrest at Congresswoman Presley's house?
Yeah. If you didn't hear it, Congresswoman Presley was on MSNBC over the weekend, and she said, we need some more unrest. Really? Some more unrest. Thank you. I think it was Jerry Callahan said today that she's the Ringo of the squad. You know, the 4th member of the squad, like Ringo was the 4th member of the Beatles, and she's trying to keep up with John, Paul, and George.
Wasn't Ringo the 5th member of the Beatles?
Well, if you want to say he was the replacement drummer. So yeah, you could consider him the 5th member of the Beatles, or even the 6th member if you want to say Brian Epstein, the manager, was another member of the Beatles, which some people say.
She's like the 4th in the 3 Amigos.
That's true. That's right.
Breaking news, they've just reopened drive-in theaters in the Chicago area, which means we now have a use for the mayor's forehead.
Ugh, stop it. It was another bad weekend in Chicago. 5 shot to death. 4 shot to death in Philadelphia. New York was the tops this weekend, though. I think they had 8 or 9 people shot to death over the weekend.
I think a pen pal exchange is a great idea. And the first postcard I send is going to say, "What's your email?"
How did AOC find out about pen pals? I wouldn't have bet any amount of money that she would know what a pen pal was. Trump is back on now. He's talking. he's in a different state, but he's wearing the same tie, and he looks like he's still pretty excited. I don't see the teleprompters right now, but that could just be because it's a tight shot. Want to take a moment of it?
People that are seriously radical left. Joe Biden is nothing but their puppet. He has no clue what's happening.
This is an even better crowd than Minnesota.
Who wants to listen to Michelle Obama do a tape speech? No, you got to have her get up there. But we're doing a real speech on Thursday, next Thursday.
Okay, well, we'll take some more after the break.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
That's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. Chump line number 844-500-4242. That's 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump line and leave your message, and we may or may not play it at this time each weekday. If you didn't hear your message or you want to hear more, go to Chopped Chumps. That's our podcast. We post it every night after the show around 7 o'clock. Get Chopped Chumps wherever you get your Howie Carr podcasts. The Chump Line is brought to you every weekday by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, this week loving the Democrat National Convention and all the uplifting, positive, and patriotic speeches, all the well-rehearsed one-liners, and perhaps for the first time since FDR gave his fireside speeches on television, the first pre-recorded acceptance speech. You just heard President Trump talking about Michelle Obama's. I guess they'll all be recorded tonight, pre-recorded. This will truly be an historic election.
Howie, Joe Biden calling. Come on, man. I oppose all-male voting. We need a constitutional amendment to allow for female voting, too. I mean it.
I'm Howie Carr.
If you change the station, the Moonbats win. You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
There's a lot to love about. There's a lot to love about you.
There's a lot to love about driving a brand new Subaru Forester. From its standard symmetrical all-wheel drive to its EyeSight driver assist technology. Love all the 2020 Forester has to offer. Starting at $24,495 with 0% financing for up to 63 months. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever, and VB was always saying that we were whipped, if you know what I mean. Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
It's time for Quarantine Questions. You're up, Jared. What have you been eating the most during this quarantine?
I've been eating a lot of Indian food because that's all that's in the machine downstairs, and I'm really growing to like it.
What is your drink of choice during the lockdown?
My drink of choice, I'm definitely a Scotch guy. A nice Dewar's really does it for me.
What about a non-alcoholic drink?
Coffee.
What one TV show would you recommend to people who are quarantining right now?
One show? Star Trek The Next Generation. You can't go wrong. It's got everything you want. It's got high-concept science fiction. It's got humanity. It's got great characters. It's the last truly great television show.
What is the biggest pet peeve about being at home?
I can see all the dirt that I don't clean, and it mocks me.
What is the biggest silver lining of staying at home?
I'd say wearing sweatpants, but I do that most of the time anyway. I'll say wearing my Spider-Man costume and not being judged.
What's one book you're loving right now?
I'm a big comic book guy, so I'm reading a lot of comic books. Right now, I'm going back over the classic Stan Lee, Steve Ditko Amazing Spider-Man run, about the first 40 issues.
This is Deb in Danielson, Connecticut.
This is Greg in Boston, Mass.
This is Elizabeth in Wakefield, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Trump's really dialing it up in Oshkosh. He said, called him Sleepy Joe Biden, of course, and then he said, and his boss, Kamala Harris, and his other boss, Nancy Pelosi, and his ruler, Bernie Sanders. Then he was talking about how Sleepy Joe is going to pre-tape his acceptance speech again. It is kind of absurd to think of an acceptance speech at a national convention or a state convention, a municipal convention, being tape recorded. Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. I just had another one right now, a Super Beets soft chew. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
How many times will Bernie Sanders make reference to the working class during his 8-minute speech at the DNC? Under 5 times, 5 to 10 times, or over 10 times?
5 to 10 times.
67% say over 10 times. 29% say between 5 and 10.
It's always been my experience, and Bernie just confirms it, that the more times you mention working class or working men and women or working anybody, the less experience you've actually had working for a living. And Bernie proves it. I mean, he's 80 years old almost, and I don't think he's ever had a real job. And he's doing pretty well. He has 3 houses. He has millions of dollars in the bank. He has a big government pension as a lifer in Congress. It amounts to a lifer. All right. 844-500-4242. Let's listen to a little bit more of Donald Trump.
Because, that's why this isn't a rally. This is, again, friendly protest. We're not allowed to do rallies, right? Because of rules and regulations which we want to adhere to. But from the plane to an oil well, from the plane to getting law enforcement, all of the sheriffs in Florida gave us their full endorsement. All right? And in Ohio, we went to a plant, Whirlpool. They were out of business. They were going out of business, and now they're a thriving company because they were dumping washing machines and dryers into our country, and I stopped it. And I said, you want to do that? We're putting a massive tariff. And all of a sudden, Whirlpool and thousands of people, they work in Ohio and other places. It became a really terrific company again, and we went there. But if you look at the kind of enthusiasm we have never had the enthusiasm that we have right now, and that includes 2016. And I hate to say it, and I don't want to be rude because I would never be rude, but let me just tell you, Joe Biden has no enthusiasm. No enthusiasm. And you don't win without enthusiasm. Like, people aren't saying we got to get him in. The only reason they want him in is they want to stop our great agenda. That's the only reason. That's the only thing he is going. And nobody wins when you're not on the side of enthusiasm. So we have more than we ever had in 2016. And in 2016, nobody has ever seen a campaign with that kind of enthusiasm. And we have much more now. But the socialists will not stop until they've ransacked America and laid waste to our cities. Your eyes don't lie. Look at Portland. It's been turned into a war zone, and we want to go in and solve it. We saved the courthouse. Do you believe it? We had to send in Homeland Security. They were great. They easily saved it after it was pounded. Portland was supposed to be watching it, but they weren't. So we sent them in. And we will send in the National Guard, just like we did in Minnesota. You saw what happened there. Minneapolis. The National Guard went in. Within 15 minutes, the whole thing was over. They should have called them in a week earlier. My beautiful, beautiful Fifth Avenue in New York has been looted and pillaged. It was allowed to happen by an incompetent mayor that doesn't have a clue. Look at what's happened to our diamond. New York was a diamond for the country. Look how far it's gone down. In Chicago, the mayor literally raised up the drawbridges to prevent hordes of rioters from ransacking the city. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? 17 officers were injured in Chicago. They had a week, a little while ago, during a weekend spree where 78 people were shot and 18 died. That's worse than Afghanistan, which we're getting out of. That's worse than Iraq, which we're almost out of. That's worse than Syria, which we're out of. Except we kept the oil, but that's okay. We don't have to talk about that.
He's on fire.
But this is the future that Joe Biden plans to bring to every city, town, and suburb.
We'll be right back with Hate Mail Monday. I'm Howie Carr. AmeriClean Sanitizing is providing state-of-the-art sanitation for your home or business. Using the HaloSil fogging system, it is able to kill 428 different viruses, including COVID. Hospitals have been using the HaloSil fogging system for years, and now you can too. The fog sanitizes everything, including keyboards, under the desk, and even HVAC systems. To schedule an appointment or learn more, go to AmeriCleanSanitizing.com. Take a look at their videos at AmeriCleanSanitizing.com and see how easy it is to kill the virus.
Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the local water service experts, Skillings & Sons. They're ready with 24-hour service with no extra charge for after-hours calls and a fleet of trucks stocked with parts to make sure you're not without water. With over 50 years of experience, they take pride in having a family of employees that are the best in the business. For all things water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. SkillingsandSons.com.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If Mr. Gooner was a person, what college would she attend?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
Is Mr. Gooner a conservative or a Democrat?
Mr. Gooner is a fiscal conservative and a social liberal.
If you could have dinner with any president, dead or alive, who would it be?
Calvin Coolidge. He was from Massachusetts, and I liked his attitude towards public sector unions. And he said, the business of America is business. He's my guy.
Other than yourself, which columnist do you respect the most?
The late George Fraser, he was a columnist for the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe. Most people have forgotten him now. Jimmy Cannon was pretty good. He was so good that Mike Barnacle used to steal stuff from him all the time. Breslin was good in his early days, not so good later on, but when he was working for the Herald Tribune back when I was a kid in New York, he was damn good.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't.
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Wonder how many days it's going to take Joe Biden to record his acceptance speech. It's going to take a while.
I'd hate to be the continuity director on that set.
Jill Biden and Kamala are going to need a lot of cutaways to cover up the jump cuts that Cardi B didn't bother covering up today in her interview.
On the plus side, though, a lot of times when you're recording something, a giveaway is the sun. And because he's in the basement, the lighting's not going to be an issue. It's not like they're going to be able to say, oh, we got to film this. You know, they always say that the sun's going down, the sun's going down. In this case, he's like a vampire.
The sun went down a long time ago.
The sun went down on Joe Biden a long time ago.
Day for night. They're shooting day for night or night for day, whatever it is. All right. It's Monday afternoon. That means it's time for Hate Mail Monday.
Let the hate flow through you.
Tons of hate today, despite the fact that, once again, you have not tweeted any photos of yourself this weekend.
I forgot. I was at Market Basket, though, yesterday, and I was wearing my new mask. I have a new mask.
That would have been a great photo op.
I know.
You're a public figure, Howie. I can't send TMZ out to capture these photos.
Norfolk County Sheriff's Department, 2020.
That was your mask?
Yeah, and it's navy blue.
I think I'm just going to have to start taking photos in the office and tweeting them out.
Okay.
Maybe of your nachos tomorrow. Can you make nachos tomorrow?
I'll make nachos
Perfect.
tomorrow.
Okay, guys, but I do have a lot of hate despite that. And Hate Mail Monday, as always, is brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. We love Piantadosi bread. You should check them out. They sponsor this segment, which is a fan favorite. Okay, let's start, Howie, with your latest column on Charlie Baker's panic porn coronavirus data.
Yes.
There's a lot at stake here.
There's a lot at stake here. This is what one person wrote back on the message boards. Howie Carr and the mouth breathers that listen to him are a joke.
Mouth breathers?
To be fair, you did have one mouth breather, but he has since passed.
Who was that?
Gooner.
Oh. How dare you? Gooner didn't come here to be made sport of.
How dare you? I don't know if Gooner listened to the show that much either.
Too soon, Grace. Too soon.
Scientifically illiterate trash need to stay in their lanes.
Scientifically illiterate? Was there any misuse of the data or the metrics?
This is the part I find interesting, though. A lot of times when they make their arguments, they get very snobby and elitist. So this person wrote, scientifically illiterate trash need to stay in their lanes.
Trash.
Digging ditches, manual labor, or whatever it is they do.
What is this? What do you think this guy does?
Probably writes a blog.
I'm gonna guess.
His hands have no calluses.
Did someone say SSI?
His hands have never touched a shovel, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Another person, his
nickname is not Callus.
No. I wrote a column, and when I write things, a lot of times people have to figure out how can we really attack this girl, and the way they figure that out is they find out I work for Howie Carr. So this person wrote, just looked up the author. She's an executive producer for Howie Carr, a blatantly right-wing extremist columnist. What are the bleeding odds?
Do they ever describe anyone as blatantly left-wing?
I know. I didn't know I was an extremist.
Just because you talked about AOC.
Yeah, which I thought I did in a pretty moderate way. I kind of saw both sides of this coin. If you guys want to check that out, it's at howiecarrshow.com. We also have some...
207 wants me to wear not only a mask, but also my Madras pants.
Okay, I think we need to have you in your Madras shorts, the mask on.
Madras short pants.
The Madras short pants, mask on, and the nachos. I wish you could smell through Twitter. That would really generate some hate for us, but unfortunately, they haven't developed.
Well, do you want me
yet.
to wear the mask tomorrow for a picture, or should I save it for the weekend?
No, bring it on in.
If he's making nachos, I'm wearing my mask too.
Yes, and that will be part of the picture as well. This is going to be beautiful. I feel like one of those TMZ guys. Like I get the call from a celebrity and I set up the photo shoot. Okay, so now we have some hate mail voicemails. We'll get back to the comments in a second. Let's start off strong. Let's start with Granny. This is cut 17.
You make fun of the way Biden speaks. Yosemite instead of Yosemite. That's your guy. Your brainless whore in the White House. That's how he pronounces Yosemite. How come you didn't play that on your radio station? Oh, you're embarrassed.
I didn't play it because I'm in mourning for the 150 million Americans who've been killed with guns since 2007 and the 120 million that are dead in the panic of 2020. But I'm looking forward to getting those 720 million women back into the workforce of the United States.
I just hope one of them doesn't come to take my job. So many. It's a lot of competition. Howie, so Joe Biden and Donald Trump are not the only people who get criticized for their pronunciation of things. Sometimes you are accused of putting the emphasis on the wrong syllables, and we are going to play cut 19.
Howie, it's not Trini Lopez. It's pronounced Trini Lopez. Like it's not chocolate. It's chocolate. Or Sunday. It's Sunday. Come on.
Trini always told me, hey, gringo, call me Trini. That's what he used to tell me.
See, the
when we were under the lemon tree.
The tough thing
lemon
is...
tree, very pretty, but the lemon is not so sweet.
Oh, God. The tough thing is your bad pronunciations have affected me because Taylor said I've started to say yesterday, which is something I picked up from you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, last week you did say yesterday.
Taylor has a weird one too, though. Do you want to know what it is?
What is it?
Maybe we can get some hate going for him.
What's that?
He says worry instead of worry.
Sorry the way
he says don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
No, say it again.
Don't worry about it.
Yep, see? There we go. So if anyone gets inspired by that, feel free.
How do you say it?
Worry.
Worry.
You're doing it. You don't even realize. Okay, guys, let's play. Oh, some people think we need to grow up. We're too immature here at the Howie Carr Show. So let's play cut 18.
Hello. I really am watching your program, and I think you Republicans really need to grow up. Thank you.
Why?
Don't worry about it. We're fine.
That's the first time anyone's told me to grow up in quite some time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm glad Great Granny told me.
I bet you got it a lot at school, though, when you were bothering everybody.
I did.
This person said, okay, so a couple of people on Twitter started talking about the Boston Herald and is it still in business and it's a rag and all these things. Very insulting to Howie and I, as we both write for the Boston Herald. And one person wrote, I saw one in a grocery store this week. So yes, their cover in response to the Kamala pick was a full color pic of Warren in a gloating Howie Carr column. Pathetic.
That's good. I think that really moved some product off the newsstands.
That sparked a whole nother conversation, which then went on to someone named Oliver writing, "Funny thing is, when I briefly lived in Boston, it was crazy how right-wing the talk radio there is. One of the most democratic cities in the country. And on the air, it's Howie Carr complaining about liberals."
Yeah, even in a bad year, the liberals don't get much more than like 65% of the vote. That leaves 35% of the audience to people like me and you, Grace.
Don't lump me in with you. I'm a right-wing extremist columnist over here. Another person wrote, Howie Carr, this one you're really going to have to break down. There's a lot of layers to this tweet. Howie Carr is a one-note Johnny who sells a lot of high-end...
At least I'm not a one-trick pony.
Who sells a lot of high-end plumbing on AM radio.
High-end plumbing.
I don't think we have a plumbing sponsor, but we're always open to those kind of things.
Yes.
He is an outlet for every racist bleep who blames their lot in life on everyone else.
See, racist, as we now know, it has been for a while, is the synonym for racist is somebody who I disagree with.
Yeah. Someone I don't like, too.
Yeah.
Puritanical.
Somebody who doesn't live with his mom in the basement. Doesn't have...
Who doesn't adopt my lifestyle of living in the basement.
Doesn't have tattoos.
Puritanical and blatantly racist.
Am I puritanical? I've only mentioned Joe Biden, the story about Joe Biden stealing Jill Biden from her first husband once today, haven't I?
You mentioned the Cuomo one a lot, too, the polo player.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was cuckolded. I think that's kind of funny that he would marry a Kennedy and then get cheated on and be surprised.
Right.
I mean...
Spoiler alert. Says,
what did he think was going to happen when he married a Kennedy?
He thought he was going to change the pattern. He was going to be the one. It says puritanical and blatantly racist drive time red meat for the put upon. He represents a core of New England xenophobes.
A core of xenophobes. Wow. That guy must have gone to a community college for more than one semester.
As I told you before, Hate Mail Monday is brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. We have one more we can play. This is cut 21.
Yes, Holly, I'm taping the Joe Biden acceptance speech right now on CNN. God only hopes that it's a better sleeping pill than one of your books.
He's taping it? He sounds like he's become unstuck in time himself, much like Joe Biden.
There's a lot of things I don't need to waste my DVR on, but Joe Biden is definitely one of them.
Or maybe he's the one that's actually taping Joe Biden making the speech.
True.
That's possible. He could be doing an early draft of it this afternoon somewhere in the basement. I hope the birds are chirping in the background, though.
That's a giveaway for what time it is, the birds. They're going to have to silence the birds.
All right. Thank you, Grace.
Thanks, Howie.
Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Usually we just brush it off or blame ourselves, saying things like, I lost my mojo. Or we avoid it altogether with excuses like, I had a long day at work. Or, sorry, honey, I'm just not feeling it. But with Roman, it is easy to talk about it. With a healthcare professional who can prescribe real medication, it's simple, safe, and totally discreet. It's still not that easy to make an appointment with a physician, is it? To go into a doctor's office or a hospital or some kind of clinic. And you don't want to go to a pharmacy to pick up your prescription. I mean, again, the whole thing about the masks and the lines and all that. But with Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your own home. A healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, simple, and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to getroman.com/Howie and complete an online visit. Erectile dysfunction used to be tough to tackle, but now there's Roman. Complete an online visit today to connect with a healthcare professional and take care of it. Go to getroman.com/Howie today. If approved, you'll get $15 off your first order of erectile dysfunction treatment. That's getroman.com/Howie, getroman.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the maestro of microaggression. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Barley House in Concord and Northampton, New Hampshire, bringing people together for a great time and great food, including fresh ground burgers. Their amazing staff is determined to make your day better. Check out thebarleyhouse.com.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Out of all of your books, which is your favorite title and why?
I think my favorite title is Hitman because it's very effective. I thought long and hard about it. We're going to make it Boston Hitman, but then why make it Boston Hitman? Just make it Hitman. Make it a universal subject.
If you could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would probably have dinner with William Shakespeare. I know that's a cliche response, but he was the greatest writer in the English language, no question about it.
If you won Mega Millions, would you retire completely?
I used to say no, I would not retire, but yeah, I think I would retire now.
If you had to leave all of your money to one charity, which would it be?
The Salvation Army. I like what the Salvation Army does. I don't think they have too many highly paid executives trying to be social justice warriors.
This is Paul in North Andover, Mass.
This is Luana in Lexington, Massachusetts.
This is Lauren in Augusta, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
(844-500-4242). President Trump is still speaking in Oshkosh, but Fox News pulled out shortly after he said this. We'll have it in a moment here.
Or do you want to quickly rebuild the strongest economy in the history of the world, which we did? We're going to have to do it again. We're going to have to do it again, and we're in the process of doing it. We built the greatest economy on earth, and now we're doing it again. You look at all the numbers. We're going to go over them. Do you want to defund and defame and dismantle the police? I don't think so. Coming back. We're coming back, and our numbers are better than almost all countries. I will tell you that. Despite what you hear, look at all of them up there. Scott, look at all of that fake news. It's unbelievable.
Scott Walker.
Unfortunately, Fox has become fake news, too. I don't know what happens to these people, right? Do you agree? At least the other side, you know where they're coming from.
So, I don't know how quickly they pulled out after that, but He's friend. I mean, obviously he loves Fox and Friends. He loves Tucker and Sean and Laura. He was talking about Laura today on Fox and Friends, but some of the rest of them not so much, obviously. 844-500-4242. Let's play. John Kasich is going to be speaking tonight, and I guess. Speaking of pepperonis, which we were speaking of earlier, they must have brought a pepperoni pizza somewhere to get him to speak. But this is Kasich. He's gonna wax eloquent and talk about his great love for Sleepy Joe tonight on videotape, I'm sure. But it was a different story back in 2012. Cut 15.
But Joe Biden told me that he was a good golfer. And I played golf with Joe Biden. I can tell you that's not true, as well as all the other things that he says.
That sounds like a convention speech right there. Here's Chris Christie, the former governor of New Jersey, and he's talking about the plan to have all mail-in ballots in New Jersey, the state that he used to run for 2 terms. And he's talking about the fact that last week they were opening up the Department of Motor Vehicles, or the Registry of Motor Vehicles, whatever they call it, in the Garden State, and they had lines that you had to spend 5, 6, 7 hours in. Cut 7.
You know, the idea of using the pandemic as an excuse for this, in my home state of New Jersey, we still have people waiting in line 6, 7, 8 hours at motor vehicle to get licenses and registrations and license plates. Our governor's permitting that, but somehow to stand in line to vote is much too dangerous. But standing in line at the motor vehicle is okay. It seems to me we have our priorities backwards in that regard, at least here in New Jersey and in other states that are trying to do the same thing.
He's totally on target. If only he'd been that on target when he recommended an FBI director to President Trump, 3 years ago now? Instead, he recommended Christopher Wray, and it hasn't turned out well, has it? Richard, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Richard.
Hey, my governor is worse than your governor. I've got Gavin Newsom.
I don't know. They're pretty much 2 peas in a pod, aren't they? With Murphy and Whitmer and Pritzker and Cuomo. There's a whole bunch of them that are it's hard to separate them out, isn't it?
Yeah, and word on the street is Kamala's going to call it a solid from Lilly after they win the election to take out. No! Stop it, Richard. 844-500-4242. Did you see the thing Peggy Noonan wrote about Kamala Harris? It was one of these slobbering puff pieces in the Wall Street Journal. She belongs writing in the New York Times with all this stuff about how smart Kamala Harris is. Both of her parents were academics, and she went to Howard University, which is not the best academic institution in the world, and then she went to Hastings School of Law, which is not even like the 3rd or 4th best law school in California, and then she flunked the bar exam. I mean, I don't think she's that great and that talented. And Peggy Noonan writes this column. It had to be like over 1,000 words, and she doesn't mention Willie Brown once. She doesn't mention anything about her opening days. She doesn't mention anything about the drug lab scandals that she tried to cover up. She's just giving her a big wet kiss. Just ugh. Peggy Noonan. She should know better than that. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
The last few months have been stressful for many, and it's time to do something for yourself. Recently, Grace reminded me of when I had that bad haircut 4 years ago. It was actually more like a buzz cut. Although it wasn't planned, I'm incredibly grateful to DiStefano Hair Restoration. Everyone was able to see that my hair could really grow back. I was annoyed when I couldn't get a haircut because of the shutdown, but I am happy that I at least have hair to cut once more. You can have the hair you've been thinking about for all these years. Dr. Highness did a great job for me, and he will for you too. To learn more, go to hairman.com. You may have more time on your hands now, so take advantage of it and get the hair you've been wanting for years. People always stop me and say, it looks so natural. DiStefano Hair Restoration has 5 locations in New England and is open for business. For more information on location openings, go to hairman.com. Get the hair you've always wanted.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer! Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president of the United States.
I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean.
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday.
I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I?
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon.
We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck, thank you very much.
All right, it's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
We all shop online, and now you can do it a better way with Honey. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more. And Honey has found over $2 billion in savings for its users. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. It's 100% free to use and installs in seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. So get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in. The worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer! Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
He's the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, so what better time to play some of his greatest hits? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Frosty.
This is going to be a mission to save all of creation.
If you want to ignore that these changes are taking place and that they're having a dramatic impact, then you are in the right place.
Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock? Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock, Senator?
Well, here is the thing.
You don't. How long has your family been in Massachusetts?
We are new arrivals, and
Mr. President, American history was made last night. The Boston Patriots won the Super Bowl. When the Second Amendment...
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Demonstrators are demanding that Postmaster General Louis DeJoy end a series of recent changes. They say DeJoy, who's an ally of President Trump, is trying to sabotage the mail system ahead of the upcoming election.
It's hard to ignore all these anecdotal reports. Slow mail in Montana, removed mailboxes in Oregon. The president needs to sort of back off on his rhetoric.
But you remember this, when you control the mail, you control information.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Now, I have encouraged everybody,
speed up the mail, not slow the mail.
The mail never stops. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you got to get it out. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
And I also want to have a post office that runs without losing billions and billions of dollars a year.
Amazon, they come and they drop all their mail into a post office and they say, here, you deliver it, you stupid people, you deliver it. And I said, raise the price. This guy's supposed to be so wealthy, so raise the price. Let him pay for it.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Crime is an issue in New York City. True. The genesis of the crime, the Trump economy, Trump not providing COVID relief, Trump's response to the George Floyd murder, Trump, there are good people on both sides, Ku Klux Klan. I think Trump has some liability for the increase in the crime. Trump.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Joe is shot. Let's face it, Joe is shot. Now, maybe people are going to feel sorry for him and maybe he win. But if Joe makes it through the debate, if he can make it off the stage and walk back unassisted, they will say it was the single greatest debate performance in history. You know that, and so do I.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon. You know, September 1st is when the real estate market turns in Boston. All the college students traditionally come back to the city, and that's when all the apartments are vacated by the old tenants and the new tenants move in and the price goes up, and it's great to be an owner and a landlord in Boston. Well, it always was until now, and but now we have the panic of 2020, and as the headline says in the Commonwealth magazine, it's a renter's market in Boston. Prices plummet, fees disappear during pandemic. And some of these statistics and the stories in this piece, which we'll tweet out, are really amazing. And you know, the thing is, the prices are going up in the suburbs and on Cape Cod and in Maine, and even in places like parts of rural Worcester County, they're going way up. But in the city, it's a different story. In all the cities, it's a different story. So joining us on the line now to talk about this for a little while is J.T. Kelly. He works for Keller Williams in Newton, and he's a real estate broker and a realtor. J.T., thanks for being on with us tonight here on the Howie Carr
problem.
Show.
Thanks for having me, Howie.
Well, you sent me this list, this sheet last week. I'm looking at it. It's amazing. Listing units. This is as of August 13th, a few days ago. A year ago, there were 1,836 units in Boston area. And today, there are 4,700, 160% increase. The average list price, these are higher end rentals, 3,500 to 3,000. Approximate months of supply has gone from less than 2.5 to 6.5 months of supplies. The average list price per square foot has gone from $830 to $330. This is amazing. This is a first in a long time, isn't it, JT?
Yeah, and since I sent you those on Thursday, it's gotten even worse. It's up to about 163% year over year, more rentals on the market than last year, and the prices just keep going down and down.
So, I mean, what's happening? Just no college students are coming back? Is that it, or is that the whole of it? Or
yeah, I mean, the demand is way down. Like you said a second ago, a lot of these landlords are offering ridiculous incentives. 4 months free. Some of the big companies are offering compensating brokers stuff higher than they've paid before. But demand is way down. I mean, many international students who have the option to do online only, are staying in their home country. Normally right around now, there's a huge surge of rental activity from the international market, whether it's India, Dubai, all of Europe, China, whatever. They're all not coming right now.
And I'm just reading there are some places now have never allowed pets, but they're allowing them even though they're going to have to pay more insurance. So that's another form of a rent cut.
They'll take anything at this point. There are places luxury buildings that aren't, normally wouldn't take undergrads that are all of a sudden taking undergrads. It's not a price issue for a lot of these places. Just there's literally no demand anymore because that whole subset of the market is non-existent right now.
And how about people that are already out of college? That just the sort of people that last year, way back then, used to live in, say, the Seaport district and would get an expensive rental unit, or even buy a condo if they were a little bit older. They're moving back to their mom's basements, aren't they? Most of them, or a lot of them anyway.
Yeah, so like you were saying too, that the condo market in Boston is down, but the single family market pretty much all over the state is significantly up. If you look at Wellesley, Weston, Newton, the prices are all up. Inventory is way down. Sellers don't want people in their houses right now, so a lot of people are just saying, let's just wait till next year to give it a shot then. But at the same time, there's still a lot of buyers trying to get out of the city, driving prices through the roof. Like Natick is up in price point 17%. Westwood is up 38%. Swampscott's up 47%. These suburbs are significantly up, and the city of Boston condo market is down about 12% year over year right now.
Wow. Swampscott is up?
Yeah.
And you think of Swampscott, it's a tough place. It's a nice place to live, but it's a tough place to get into Boston. But now there's a little more traffic than there was a couple of months ago, but there's still not a lot of traffic. Swampscott's an easy place to get into now compared to what it was.
Right. But the amount of buyers out there that are looking for it, and Swampscott's inventory is down 51% year over year. So there's just, there's so many buyers out there that are competing for even less houses. With the exodus of people leaving the, traditional high-rise, whether it's luxury apartments in Seaport or, those buildings in Fenway all over the city, a lot of people are competing for kind of the same product outside of it.
So you think the inventory is down in places in sort of upscale suburbs like Swampscott or Natick just because people don't want buyers in their house, or are they just waiting to see if maybe the prices are going to go up even more?
Yeah, a little bit of both. A lot of sellers ended up saying this year, all right, let's just wait till next year. We don't want people in our house right now, and that definitely contributed to. And then at a certain point, people just say, all right, let's just wait. And at this point, it's maybe there'll be a rebound in the fall. Who knows? But there's no way that a lot of these inventory numbers are going to come out to what they finished at 2019 with.
Well, now we have a situation where nobody can be evicted, at least for the the time being. There's an order. Yeah, you're laughing about. But what
disaster eviction?
Yeah, what are the landlords supposed to do if they're not getting any rent? When are the foreclosures going to start on these landlords? And I'm not gleeful about that. I think I agree. It's a terrible situation. What's going on?
Did you see that the owner in Fall River? He was a former Iraq combat veteran. He had a tenant who hadn't paid since April, and the tenant said, to him, "You can't evict me, so I'm not paying." The guy has no hardship, hasn't paid his rent. There's a few articles about it. The guy's still working, and he's basically using the moratorium to avoid paying rent. So I believe the landlord joined a lawsuit suing Baker. But that came out on Friday or Saturday this week. There's really nothing you can do if these people stop paying, and Baker just keeps extending the eviction moratorium. It's a disaster and completely unfair to private owners.
But so when the eviction moratorium ends, this guy in Fall River and thousands of others, they're going to owe all that back rent, right? Aren't they?
Right, but then what do you do if the guy says, I'm not paying? And then it floods the courts, and it takes, on average a year to begin with. So Lord only knows how long it'll take, assuming the courts open up on October 17th, which just keeps getting punted. So I wouldn't be optimistic about that to begin with anyways.
So when do the foreclosures begin, J.T. Kelly?
Yeah. They keep pushing that back, too, a little bit, but, they're pushing back the payments not to the end of the loan, but if you go into if you request basically a deferment of payment, you owe it now in 6 to 12 months, which is also not very helpful because then 12 months from now, you all of a sudden owe 12 months of payment.
Right.
So, I can't imagine they're going to start. I can't imagine they're going to start either the foreclosures or the evictions anytime in 2020.
Good Lord. And and when did the tax bills, of course, are not being deferred for the people who own the property.
They're still due. Yep, it's crazy.
Sounds like a lot of people are going to have to make quick moves to get out or try to sell just to get out from under this before they get foreclosed upon. This is a real mess, isn't it? And nobody's talking about it. I mean, nobody. We're talking about it.
The New York numbers are even worse.
Really?
Yeah, the New York. I don't have them on me right now, but there's been a bunch of articles that the New York apartment prices are at an all-time low, and everybody's completely fleeing there right now.
Yeah, there was a big story, I think, in the Wall Street Journal either today or Saturday about how San Francisco is the same thing. So Silicon Valley is, that was like the priciest real estate in America. And that's fading away because everybody's figuring out that they don't have to work in a place where it costs $1 million to get a 1,200 square foot condo.
Right. Combined with the stuff about the police and all that, a lot of people are fleeing some of those cities.
So, what would you suggest if you're a buyer or a seller, JT Kelly?
So in the suburbs, it's a great time to sell because there's a lot less inventory, so places are going wildly over ask, 10, 12, 15 offers on your average single family. Buyers in the city can potentially get a good deal right now, but the reality is outside the city with single families, it's insanely competitive, and the average buyer is putting in multiple offers, some 10, 20 grand over ask and still not getting the place. Traditionally it kind of cools down a little bit in the fall and winter because a lot of people work with September deadlines where families want to be in school districts and start then. But, I don't think anybody could exactly know this year what's going to happen since, like you said, that logic is kind of out the window for now since people can work and whatnot from home.
And if God forbid you're looking for an apartment in Boston, haggle. How about that, JT? Is that right? You could definitely get it.
Broke up there?
I said, if you're looking for an apartment, God forbid, in Boston, haggle. Don't accept the first offer the landlord gives you. He'll take less, right?
Exactly. There's thousands of options out there from the tenant side, and landlords are hurting a bit right now.
All right, JT Kelly, if people want to use your services, where should they go to call you?
My number is 617-777-0248. My website is www.kelly.properties.
All right.
Appreciate it, Howie.
All right, JT, thanks. Send me that new list. I'd just like to keep up with it for myself just to see how bad things are. Thanks. I'm not rooting for a disaster. I just like to know what's going on. I'm Howie Carr.
Give it here, chumps. More Howie Carr after this.
The Bayview Collection is a small group of distinctive luxury boutique hotels located in the beautiful coastal village of Camden, Maine, whose properties include the Lord Camden Inn, Camden's premier downtown boutique hotel, the Grand Harbor Inn, Camden's only four-diamond waterfront hotel, and 16 Bayview, Camden's newest contemporary hotel property with its iconic rooftop bar, The View. The Bayview Collection, 3 great choices, 1 remarkable destination. To learn more, visit them at bayviewcollection.com.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
This is the Howie Carr Show live from Chappaquiddick at the Party House. 25 years after Chappaquiddick 1969. On WHDH, News Talk 850.
Another bad song from 1969. 742-0850. We're going to take some calls this segment if you want to get on board. If you have any questions for John Farrar, the scuba diver who saw Mary Jo Kopechne's body underwater.
The number again, 742-0858. We're going to start talking about the incident and everyone's perceptions. John, let me just get this straight. So now, as far as your belief is that while Ted Kennedy was walking past all these houses back towards the party house where we're broadcasting from now, Mary Jo was still alive.
That is correct.
And she would have been alive probably for about an hour, you think?
I think that's most reasonable, and if an hour, if not longer, that's correct.
If not. With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe Home Security. They're longtime friends of the Howie Carr Show, and for good reason. Simply Safe has made it easy to finally get comprehensive protection for your home. There's no technician or salesperson that needs to come and disrupt your house. You don't need to pay any outrageous monthly fees or sign a 2-year contract. You just order online, set it up yourself in under an hour, and your home is protected 24/7 with emergency dispatch for break-ins, fire, and more. All for just 50 cents a day. And we're not the only fans of Simply Safe. U.S. News and World Report named Simply Safe Best Overall Home Security of 2020. Go to simplysafehowie.com to try it out for yourself. That's simplysafehowie.com to make sure they know that our show sent you. That's simplysafehowie.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them, now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money, and my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's what I'm saying. I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses, besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
This is Lynn in sunny Las Vegas.
This is Dan from the moonbat capital of Jamaica Plain.
This is Gigi in Leominster, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
781 says, if it takes you a year to get someone out of a unit, you got a bad lawyer. I do this for a living, and it has never taken me that long. Only if you have an elderly tenant. JT must not do investment property. I don't know. I think it's a different situation now, isn't it? Are the housing courts even in operation? Or I know they're probably, they're doing a lot of virtual hearings and all that kind of stuff. Or wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I don't think there's too much going on in the courts. I even heard yesterday, so I was talking to somebody who works in the courts, and they said that even the judges are starting to get a little antsy about this situation. And there are not too many type A workaholics in the state judiciary, to put it mildly. So if they're getting fed up, it's got to be a problem. 844-500-4242. Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beats. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. So Taylor is gone tonight, and Jared's on the board. Jared, what's the poll question, and what are the results thus far?
How many times will Bernie Sanders make reference to the working class during his 8-minute speech at the DNC? Under 5 times, 5 to 10 times, or over 10 times?
I'm saying 5 to 10 times, but if it goes over 10, I would not be that surprised. If it goes under 5, I would be very surprised.
5 to 10 times is at 30% of the audience. Over 10 times is in the lead with 66%.
Yeah. My father was a working man. He told me, Bernie, don't work if you don't have to. I never have had to. Mr. Garcia, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mr. Garcia.
Hey, Howie Carr. Listen, I want to ask a question. The mayor of New York suspended the school in September and October.
October, too? You're kidding. October as well?
Yeah, in October and November.
And November?
Because a lot of black people dying.
Oh, my God. They just postponed the reopening of the schools in Boston, but only till September 21st. Your guy, so it's going to be a Be Still fall, not just a Be Still Monday or Be Still Tuesday in Newark. It's going to be a Be Still all fall up to Thanksgiving.
You know, the problem, I tell the mayor office, the mayor should be working as a manager at a Burger King. He should not be a mayor. He should be a manager at Burger King. It's disgusting, the world is.
What do you got against Burger King, Mr. Garcia? Probably wouldn't be very
Maybe
well managed. So how could he get away with this? I mean, what's the point? I mean, I thought the numbers in Jersey were going down. Why he's going to keep the schools shut down for another couple of months?
And I spoke to a lot of black kids because my daughter goes to school. And young kids, 14, 15, and say, I want to play basketball, Humberto. I want to jump. I want to go to the gym. And I want to go into school. And a lot of black kids want to play basketball. You cannot play basketball in Newark.
Yeah. How about all the kids in these schools that you know? I mean, they work all their lives, for football, and they look forward to that Thanksgiving Day game, right? I mean, it's like for some kids, that's the highlight of their high school years. There's not going to be any of that stuff this year. Mr. Garcia, hold on. We're going to send you a book. You're a great caller. We're going to send you a book. Oh, he hung up. Call back, Mr. Garcia. We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr.
Nowadays, seems like companies are running away from their own iconic brands so quickly you'd think they owed the money. Must be they figured that it's easier to improve the name than it is to improve the product. We here at Matthews Brothers have a different philosophy when it comes to our brands. Instead of naming our products for something that sounds grandiose, like the Super Duper Thermal Insul Shield 2.0, we prefer to use names that are actually meaningful to us. For example, the Sanford Hills, named for the youngest of the original founding brothers, Sanford Hills Matthews. A man who was a skilled craftsman as well as a teacher, Sanford Hills had a relentless passion for quality, and he inspired this passion in those with whom he worked. Always the first to arrive and the last to leave, Sanford never took a vacation in the 37 years he worked here, except to attend his only son's graduation from the University of Rochester in 1885. His passion for quality was his legacy and something that remains part of our fabric today. You can see the results of our continued relentless passion for making wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. That's Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on the town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way. You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day. Once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on the town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, you know? I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother."
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Ayanna Pressley, we played the cut of her earlier today talking about how we need more unrest. She's the congresswoman from Boston and the surrounding areas, Somerville, part of Cambridge, and down as far as Randolph. And the Republican candidate against her is Rayla Campbell, and she's from Randolph, and she's a black woman. And as you may recall, recently a so-called activist, a BLM activist, Monica Cannon Grant, just made a video and put it out on social media, just a vile, obscene attack on Rayla Campbell, just so nasty, vulgar, beyond vulgar, obscene. So this woman, Monica Cannon Grant, who made this horrible video and put it out on online, she endorsed Joe Kennedy, Joe Kennedy, who's now, incidentally, in the latest poll, he's behind Ed Markey, believe it or not. I don't know if I believe it, but there it is. So Joe Kennedy had a press conference today and to attack his opponent, Senator Ed Markey, Mr. Frosty, for going after his background helping black voters. And behind him, Joe Kennedy had a number of black activists and politicians, one of whom was Monica Cannon Grant, this woman who had said these vile, terrible things about Rayla Campbell and her husband, who was white. And so Rayla Campbell went to the event on City Hall Plaza, and Rayla Campbell is with us now. She's the Republican candidate against Ayanna Pressley. I'm going to let her pick up the story from there. Rayla, tell us what happened when you went to City Hall Plaza this morning or this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Howie, for having me on. Yeah, it was this morning. I actually got a text and a call from D.A. Rollins at about 9 o'clock in the morning telling me that Kennedy was going to be making a press conference, and he hadn't made a statement to me disavowing this woman or reached out to me in any type of capacity at all. So she gave me the information. I said where and when. She told me where and when. She prepared a statement. Of course, I wasn't going to go and read her statement because I don't trust the woman. So I went.
Sounds like she did you a favor, though, Rayla. She did you a favor.
She did. So, it was like, all the cops are probably up her butt right now wondering,
right,
what is she doing? Because, I'm standing with the police. So she did. Yeah, she reached out to me, and I went down there, and I was by myself. And I happened to just get out of the car, and I was wearing my Blue Lives Matters dress, and I stood there and wanted to see what Kennedy was going to say. I did not know that Monica Cannon Grant was going to be there. Had no idea. So the shock.
So you were just going there to support the police. You weren't going there to confront Monica Cannon Grant.
No, I had no idea she was going to be there.
Wow.
I had no idea. I was going there to see if Kennedy was going to say anything about this woman. No clue. So that's why I'm like, wait a second. D.A. Rollins didn't tell me that Monica was going to be there and that all these other people were going to be there. And a sheriff was standing up, and he gave her praises. And I yelled,
Sheriff Tompkins?
Yes. Yes.
He's the sheriff of Suffolk County. Yeah. So he praised her?
He praised her. He praised her, gave her, saying how much she has done for the community and how much she stands up for the African Americans. Meanwhile, this is the same woman that went on a bigoted racial tirade against me and my husband. The words that we cannot even say because they were so vile and so disgusting.
I know.
So I just actually happened to pop up and see what was going to happen. Wonder if Kennedy was going to say anything, and when he didn't, it was like, okay, let me make my statement right now, because the news is all here. They're not trying to cover me with anything. In fact, they've actually called me a protester when I've been standing in my Blue Lives Matter dress with the police. So I went there just to make sure that my voice was heard, and I want him to, one, apologize to me, and to disavow this woman in a public setting.
Yeah.
So the Herald was there, and they reached out, and they asked him, and he said, oh, well, she went on and apologized on Facebook Live. Her unapology is what he's talking about. She did not apologize to me. She apologized for some choice words, not what she actually said to me. And then she continued to attack me in that video. So that was his statement. All right, Kennedy, I got something for you and Miss Presley.
So what did you say? Now recreate, because we don't have any. Is there any video of this of what you said to Joe Kennedy?
I bet the news is out there. I tried my best before I was taken away. I wasn't escorted away, as the news has stated. The officers were very nice, and they were like, "Let him just finish his press conference," and we stood off to the side. But yeah, I asked him if he's going to stand there and talk about, the unrest and the injustices happening in the African American community. Well, he's sitting there with the biggest racist bigot behind him. Is he going to say something about that? And he looked like a deer caught in the headlights. Just like.
So recreate, since we don't have any video or audio, Rayla, just recreate for me what you said to Congressman Kennedy.
I said to him, I was like, are you going to disavow this woman that's standing behind you that went on a racial, bigoted tirade? She called for me to be shot in the head. She said that, she used the N-word, she said that Harriet Tubman would have shot me in the face, calling for the murder of my husband, saying that I'm married to a white supremacist, saying that I hang out with KKK members. And I said, can I say the N-word on the radio? Because, I said it straight out. She called me.
Whoa, don't say it. Don't say it again. I don't need any trouble. Rayla.
I just said the N-word. But, I said that. And he literally, you see him swallowing his throat, And that's when I was escorted away, and I'm yelling, are you going to say something about it? Are you going to do something about it? Are you going to stand there and stand up for this woman and give her awards when she's a racist? You're going to stand there with a racist? The Bruins, the Celtics, the Red Sox?
And so,
they're all standing with her.
And what did he say? Nothing.
Nothing. He ran away. Like, when I say ran away, ran. The Herald was there, too. They tried to follow him. All of the news people were trying to follow and get a statement. He ran so fast. I've never seen anybody run that fast. I thought it was hilarious. And she did, too. Monica, who I've never met until I saw her today, still not met, didn't have a word to say to me, ran away with the rest of them. I'm like, but you guys don't want to come and
Did anyone try to talk to you like the sheriff or any of the others that were standing behind Kennedy?
Not a single one. That's why I know they've been drinking the Democrat Tang. It's not Kool-Aid, it's Tang, because Tang only comes in one flavor. It's disgusting. It's orange. Kool-Aid comes in many flavors. But not a single one of them. Nobody came up to me. Actually, one of Kennedy's women said, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with you.
Really?
It's not my time, they said. Isn't that the words this woman used? Go sit in the back of the bus. It's not my, so this isn't my part of the show? Yeah, that's what they said, and they were trying to get me to stop talking. Nope, this is my time.
617 asks, texter, does Monica Cannon Grant feel the same way about Kamala Harris's husband?
I've been hearing that a lot.
That's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah. Does she feel the same about Rachel Ross? Who's also... Yeah, Rachel Rollins, who's also, has a white father.
Yeah. So why do you think Rachel Rollins did that for? I mean, I'm kind of, I thought she was on your side in this matter, but why do you think she gave you that heads up?
I have no idea. I've been trying to figure out the angle in the game for what she's up to. Now, this is like the second time that she's given me some information. So, I think she's trying to distance herself from the woman, but go out there and make a public statement, not just to the Herald, on TV. She was on the Channel 5, I think, on Sunday, on the record. Why didn't she say anything on the record?
Mm-hmm. So someone says you posted your words on Facebook. Was that a recording you posted on Facebook?
I tried to. Again, I was by myself, and I had my sign in my hand, and I had my phone, and I was like, let me do a Facebook Live. And I did have some of Kennedy supporters or Monica supporters actually putting their hands on me, trying to move me away when I was standing there. Yeah, so, the video is a little choppy. It is on my Facebook page, Rayla for Congress, on Facebook, and it just has... you can hear what I'm saying, and it does get cut off because I was escorted to the side. But yeah, they were putting their hands on me, trying to get me to move.
They didn't threaten to arrest you or anything, did they?
No. They actually, the police were fantastic. They allowed me to say my piece, and there was a press conference going on, and they had called the cops, and they were going to threaten to. I was disturbing the peace, but I'm pretty sure they didn't pull a permit to do that, but. So I just stood off to the side with the officers.
As long as I got you here, Rayla, where should people go if they want to get a sticker to put on the ballot, the Republican ballot on September 1st to get you on the general election ballot against Ayanna Pressley? Where should they go?
Right. So I am doing a write-in, and they do need to either get a sticker or write my name for September 1st primary. They can go to my website. It's RaylaForCongress.com. It's RaylaFor Congress.com. They can pledge their vote right in the top corner, and we will hand deliver a sticker. So it's not like you're going to have to wait. We will bring it directly to you. And we also need donations. We need a lot of donations. We've got yard signs going up. I have events coming up. They're all posted on my Facebook. So people can follow, donate, go onto my website, get out there. It's time to rock the vote. September 1st is the primary. You have to pull a Republican ballot, write my name in, Rayla, Campbell, like the soup, Randolph, Mass.
Okay, I'm going to play, before we go, I'm going to play this cut. You've heard it by now. It's your opponent, Ayanna Pressley, on MSNBC on Saturday. Cut 16.
I'm looking to the public. This is as much about public outcry and organizing and mobilizing and applying pressure so that this GOP-led Senate and that these governors that continue to carry water for this administration, putting the American peoples in harm's way, turning a deaf ear to the needs of our families and our communities, hold them accountable.
Well,
make the phone call, send the email, show up. There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives. And unfortunately, there's plenty to go around.
There needs to be unrest in the streets.
So if those aren't her exact words coming from her mouth to Monica Cannon Grant, who is attacking me, I've also got the trolls attacking me. I was in Wilmington on Sunday, had 3 of them there, and Antifa, all trying to get me. The crowd was amazing.
In Wilmington? That's not in your district, though, is it?
It's not. I was there to support the blue, as I always do, and to support the president, because it was a Trump rally, a Back the Blue rally, and just to support my other Republican candidate, John Paul Moran, who is also running.
All right, Rayla Campbell, give us your address one more time so people can get in touch with you.
Yes, so they can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Parler at RaylaForCongress.com, RAYLAFOR Congress. And like I said, RaylaForCongress.com. You can donate. You can pledge your vote. We can get you the stickers. If you need yard signs, let us know. So we've got it all out there. I'm doing events. You can follow that on my Facebook page. I have one on Wednesday in Somerville, and then we're also doing another one, a standout in Dorchester. Welcome to Dorchester on Saturday.
Welcome to Somerville, too.
Every town in my district.
All right. Rayla Campbell, thanks, and I'm glad you went out there and confronted Joe and his supporters. Thanks. That's Rayla Campbell, Republican candidate against Ayanna Pressley. If you're thinking of replacing your carpets due to pet stains and odors, you must try Genesis 950 first. It breaks down the bonds of stains and odors so they're gone from carpets and padding for good. You can use it in a carpet cleaning machine, and it's green, so it's safe for family and pets. It's the go-to cleaner for when Mr. Gooner had an accident, as older pugs often do. Before you purchase new carpeting, you must try Genesis 950. It's such a pain to get new carpeting. It's expensive. You got to measure it. You got to go to the carpet store. You got to buy padding in addition to the carpeting. You got to have the carpeting taken away or get rid of it somehow. Don't bother with that. Get industrial strength Genesis 950. 1 gallon makes up to 7 gallons of cleaner, and it's not just for pet stains. It's a disinfectant that kills viruses. It's also great for kitchens, garages, grease stains, wheels, tires, and more. Save yourself the trouble of going to the store and seeing your favorite cleaner sold out again.
And Howie, you just said it right there, but I always thought it was for pets because we started talking about it so much with your dogs. But the mailroom manager told me that this weekend she brought over a gallon of it to Carolyn, who has a new house, and that she was amazed by how fast and how quickly it got everything out, and she wanted to use it on the whole couch.
No, she thought the mailroom manager was crazy and that it wouldn't do anything, but it just got it out. It really did get it out, just like that. I watched it. I was surprised myself how good it was. It's made in America, and as we like to say, buy American, support America. Order a gallon direct at Genesis950.com. Enter code Howie to get more than a $10 value in savings, including free shipping and a free spray bottle with a 1 gallon purchase of Genesis 950. Go to Genesis950.com and enter code Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the guru of graft. It's Howie Carr.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble with some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. $1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Can you remember any time in your life when you were starstruck?
One time I saw Peter Vesey, the NBA columnist for the New York Post. He was in the Herald sports department. I really liked his column, so I went up and introduced myself to him. Then one time there was Cousin Brucey from WABC, and I used to listen to him driving back and forth between Chapel Hill and Deerfield when I was in college. Everybody on the East Coast listened to him. I couldn't believe that I was in the presence of Cousin Brucey.
Do you ever play bridge anymore?
No, I haven't played bridge in a very long time. Nobody I know plays bridge. I think my bridge days are behind me.
Do you think you'd still be good at it?
I'm not a great bidder, but I know how to count cards. That, to me, is the essence of playing a hand of bridge, is to be able to count cards.
What is a rhino?
Rhino is a Republican in name only. Think Paul Ryan. Oh, think Mitt Romney. Think Jeff Flake.
This is Jay in Hingham, Massachusetts.
This is Gloria from Haverhill, Mass.
Hi, this is Joe from Howie in the Hills, Florida, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
(844-500-4242). I'm just looking at this Globe story about the event. New poll finds Markey with margin of error lead as Markey now has a 44-42 lead. And again, 15% undecided doesn't mean much, I don't think. But I'm surprised Markey's that close, let alone ahead in even one poll. And it's an outside group that did the poll. But in a short news conference during which he notably took no questions, Kennedy, but it doesn't say why Kennedy took no questions. I think probably one of the reasons he took no questions was because Rayla Campbell was heckling him, And I think she had every right to go after him. I mean, when he's got that woman behind him, I mean, when we first broke the story, it wasn't us; it was other people who broke the story. But the Herald asked Kennedy for a comment about whether he was still going to accept the support of this woman, Monica Cannon Grant, who said all these racist things, and he didn't get back to us. He said he had no response. Aliciana, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Aliciana.
Hello, Howie. Thank you. Miss Campbell, you know me, Aliciana from Dorchester. We're backing you 100%. Clean out the swamp in Boston. Clean it out. And they set her up. I told Miss Campbell about them. They will set her up. They set her up. And Rachel Rowland set her up. Be careful. I warned her. That's what they did to Congress Mike Capiano. They set him up. Be careful. Be careful. Watch your back.
All right. She's keeping her friends close and her enemies closer, I think, like The Godfather taught us all. But I think Rachel Campbell did her a favor, solid, as they say this today, by telling her about this. I think Rayla Campbell comes out on top here, even though the Globe has given the story a good leaving alone, obviously. And I'd be interested in seeing how this is going to play out on the local newscast tonight. You have somebody yelling at a Kennedy. I think it's pretty good TV, unless the the local news media is even further gone than I thought they were. 603, the mass low-digit license plate lottery is now active. Oh, good. We've been looking for that for a long time. I'll be checking that out tonight. I sure won't be watching the Democrat convention. I'm Howie Carr.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the